over a decade, Herbal Verility Max has helped guys just like you put a smile back on their face with improved performance and drive. Call today and ask about our buy one, get one free offer.
800-690-8445. 800-8445. 800-690-8445. That's 800-690-8445.
If you need a new set of top brand tires, Downtown Ford Sacramento has great news for you. For a limited time, we'll beat any competitor's price on a new set of 4 tires. Then, kick you down a mail-in rebate of up to $150, and that includes major brands like Firestone, Nitto, Cooper, Toyo, and Kelly tires. Some restrictions apply. Visit downtownfordsacramento.com for details. Downtown Ford Sacramento on Howe Avenue. Online at downtownfordsacramento.com.
Call the good dudes at Gabruds, Gubruds.
Homeowners, if you have an electrical project you need done, then you need the good dudes at Gabruds. Family owned and operated for 30 years, Jay Gabrud and his team are the area's recognized experts for everything electrical, from the very basic like repairs, lighting upgrades, and whole house fans, to the biggies, panel replacements, EV stations, and backup generators. Gabruds does it all and does it right the first time. They're actually the guys their competition recommends. Gabruds, expert 5-star service and always transparent, honest prices and solutions. Say goodbye to your electrical issues. Visit Gabruds.com or call 24/7 and speak with a real live person. Gabruds, Gubruds.
Call the good dudes at Gabruds, Gubruds. Gabruds.com.
Sacramento, we mean business.
Every freaking day.
Yeah. Great sports talk doesn't take a day off.
Early bird gets the worm and all that.
Sacktown, it's the homie
Grant Napier.
Lock in, listen up, and stay right here.
And from Dan Patrick in the morning to Grant Napier on your drive home.
There's nothing like the power of live radio. Nothing.
This is Fox Sports Sacramento. 104.7 FM, 890 AM.
Who's canceled now?
Wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind. Like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest.
Uh-oh.
Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash.
Fantastic.
Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control. Yikes! So you're on your own with the wasps. You have the power to take control of prediabetes. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
Tell your friends.
Grant's back.
Grant Napier is back on the Sacramento airwaves right here. KSAC 890 AM Olivehurst. K284CM 104.7 FM Sacramento.
Hello.
Hello, Sacramento.
Sacktown.
And welcome in.
Grant Napier.
How you been?
You know this guy.
It's your show.
So happy to hear you on the airwaves.
2+ decades on the radio with you.
Just the start of an incredible journey.
Now he's back on Fox Sports 104.7 FM and 890 AM.
3 to 6 every day. Fox Sports Sacramento.
The phone number?
916-779-0929.
His name? Grant Napier.
Good afternoon, everybody. I really thought that right now on this Thursday, the 5th of February, we'd be talking a lot of Kings news, but guess what? There is no news. In just a frenzied, crazy couple of days leading up to today's NBA trade deadline, the Kings got involved over the weekend with the trade with the Cavaliers and the Bulls, and Most thought that that was just part one of a part 2 or 3-part process. And now here we are. And it's like, nothing. Now, you can look at this a couple of different ways, okay? If you go back 12 months ago, and the situation was a little bit different because of the influence of Clutch Sports and Rich Paul and the De'Aaron Fox situation, I think most of us, if you could go back in time, wish the Kings had not made a move at the trade deadline and that they would have waited until the summer, and they probably would have gotten a larger return than what they did for Fox. Speculation, but I'm just trying to go back in time. So here we are. There were a lot of rumors leading up to this trade deadline, and I've always cautioned you, don't pay attention to the rumors. I think the most concrete one was the Toronto Raptors with Domantas Sabonis on his way to Toronto. And if I'm Sabonis right now, I am livid. I'm absolutely livid that I'm still in Sacramento. And that didn't materialize. Then we thought, well, okay, is there a team out there that would take on DeMar DeRozan, because the guy is still incredible at what he does, and he could help maybe a team get from a group of the B playoff teams to the A playoff team, like he's that good in terms of what his role could be offensively. If a team needs a legitimate scorer, that didn't happen. We knew that the chances of Zach LaVine being moved were not good, but there were the rumors that the Milwaukee Bucks were interested, and as it turned out, Giannis Antetokounmpo stays in Milwaukee. But here's what I think is the challenging aspect of all of this. You look at all of the teams in the NBA, and you look at how busy they were, and you look at like the fact that they were able, and I'm talking about not just one or two teams, but they were able to make multiple deals. And they just kept on coming with a flurry. And you're waiting for Sacramento, and you're waiting, and you're waiting. And other than the deal that was made with Cleveland and Chicago, with Dennis Schröder and Keon Ellis, who, by the way, will be in Sacramento on Saturday, it's just kind of a blasé trade deadline. Again, you can interpret that however you want. You can say, well, gee, it's bad for Sacramento. It's not necessarily bad. It just means that here we go again. Wait. Now, there's a lot of different opinions on everything that goes on and why the Kings still have Malik Monk on the roster, still have Domantas Sabonis on the roster, still have DeMar DeRozan on the roster. You know, could this player help out that team? What does this player do best? How about NBA radio today, Rob Perez and former NBA player Antonio Daniels?
You just go through and you look at the teams that are considered championship caliber teams. Who's bringing somebody off their bench for instant offense now?
What's funny is the one I can think of, just a pure bucket getter, is on the worst team in the Western Conference. So there's no championship aspirations in Sacramento with DeMar DeRozan. Right. That's just give me the ball, everyone go away. I'm going to cook in the mid-range short post.
Right. And the thing is, that's okay because you're not concerned with winning. So you can go through 3 or 4 minutes of bad basketball without consequence. But when you're playing on a championship caliber team, when the bigger picture is winning the NBA championship, you can't afford that.
Antonio Daniels, former NBA player and an alum of Bowling Green State University. Yes, indeed, that Antonio Daniels, who is the TV analyst for New Orleans. So Scott Perry is going to address the media tomorrow. It was interesting because Scott Perry actually talked leading up to the trade deadline on the recent long homestand that the Kings had. This is from about 3 weeks ago.
No matter when the trade deadline has been previously in my career, you're always active on the phones. And that's part of the job of being a general manager, is knowing the pulse of the league and trying to figure out, is there some sort of deal that you can do for your basketball team that's not only going to help you in the short term, but in the long term? And does that move align with your vision and goals moving forward? So what people don't often realize, it is extremely difficult to consummate a trade in this league. Because again, we go into the market looking for certain things. You know, obviously we want to get a little bit younger, a little more athletic, but 29 other teams, they're going into the market with their vision and goals and objectives they want to accomplish. And so you've got to marry the two to obviously consummate a deal, but it's not from a lack of effort and work. We're going to do that. And I've said all along, we're going to be prudent and opportunistic. We're not going to do anything rash that will cost us down the line.
You know, I would agree it's not easy to make a trade in the NBA, but I mean, it's obviously not that difficult. All right. It's obviously not that difficult based on all of the trades that were made, okay, this week. I mean, it can't be that difficult. I'm not saying it's easy. And, you know, you can't make a deal for the sake of making a deal. That you can't do. All right? I mean, I do agree with Scott. You know, you can't really just make a deal to appease the fans. You've got to do what's best for your franchise. You have to look out for the future. And, yeah, I'm sure he would have loved to have made a deal for Sabonis or DeRozan or Levine. I get all of that. But you know what? If it's not there, it's not there. And you wait until the opportunity is right. I know it's disappointing for the Kings fans. You know, that is for sure. We're going to talk more about the NBA with Olden Polynice coming up on the show today at 5 o'clock. Chris Landry football at 4 o'clock. I want to talk about Dennis Schröder for a minute. And I don't know, like, if I'm reading too much into this or not. So Dennis Schröder was in a story from Yahoo Sports talking about the deal that landed him in Cleveland. All right. And I just thought it was interesting that in the story, he said he was in his hotel room in Washington, D.C., when assistant general manager B.J. Armstrong called him to tell him that he was being traded. Why would B.J. Armstrong, the assistant general manager, call Dennis Schröder instead of Scott Perry? Is it because B.J. Armstrong maybe has a different relationship with Schröder? Is it because, I mean, I don't know. I just think that's a little odd that Scott Perry, who went out and signed Schröder to a 3-year deal and, you know, talked about him in amazingly glowing terms. We played that soundbite for you over on Monday, I think, right? We had the sound from Scott Perry after acquiring Dennis Schröder. I mean, you would have thought he had just signed Oscar Robertson, okay? I mean, the superlatives, everything else that he talked about, it was like, whoa, right? What did he say? He said, building block, so important, that this is going to be a catalyst for the team, a leader for the team. You know, again, you would have thought that they were getting a 10-time All-Star. So then Schröder gets traded, and B.J. Armstrong calls him to tell him that he's getting traded. I don't know. I just think that was a little odd. It just caught me kind of like, wow. You know? Now, do I think that's standard? Do I think that's typical? You know what? Here's what I think. I think teams do things differently. I don't think it's uniform across the league. But I've always, in my time with the Kings, if an individual does not hear about it from social media, which does sometimes happen. I mean, it does happen sometimes because you have agents involved and you can't control the narrative, and it can leak out before a general manager can call a player. But I just thought that was a little odd. I was like, oh, wait a minute. Scott Perry didn't call Dennis Schröder to tell him that he was being traded? Again, I don't want to make a mountain out of a molehill here, but it just caught me. I was like, wow. All right, 916-779-0929. That's 916-779-0929. So what now? What now? You have a new player in DeAndre Hunter, who didn't exactly look great last night, but I'm not worried about it. I mean, he's not great to begin with, but he didn't look great. I mean, he brings some assets to this team that they definitely need. And so, you know, I'm not reading too much into the game last night, but it certainly was not a great debut. You have Keegan Murray, who's probably going to be back after the All-Star break. Then what? Then what do you do? Who's going to play? Who's not going to play? You know, I think last night in the fourth quarter, you kind of saw the trend. You didn't see Zach LaVine on the floor. You know, you saw the young players. You saw Nick Clifford on the floor. You saw Devin Carter on the floor. You saw Max Reno, you know, in crunch time. Sacramento now 12-40. New Orleans has 40 defeats. And in the East, Indiana 38. And the only thing right now that can make this season, which is the worst in the history of the Sacramento Kings, and has been a disaster in every sense of the word, the only thing that could top where we are at right now is if the Kings somehow, down the stretch, win 3 games in a row or 4 games in a row and end up losing one of the top 4 picks in the draft. That would, and by the way, wouldn't that be so Sacramento Kings-ish for them to have a season like this, to be this bad, this awful, with a net rating of -10, a team that's lost 10 in a row, to all of a sudden, when you get to March and April, rattle off a win streak and screw everything up? Wouldn't that just be like typical for the Sacramento Kings and everything we've had to endure in this community with this team over the years? Right? You know it. I know it. And that's what I'm looking at. And, you know, Ryan has gone over the schedule, and we'll do that here in a couple of moments. But, you know, the schedule was kind of top heavy. And we always looked at the schedule and we said, well, what if? You know, the schedule here in March and April is not like Murderer's Row. You know, you haven't played New Orleans yet, okay? And after the All-Star break, you know, you're playing teams that can't be as bad as you because you've got the worst record in the league. But the point is, you know, you are playing teams such as, like, look at this homestand. You ready for this? In March. Starts with Phoenix. Then you have New Orleans at home, Chicago at home, Indiana at home, Charlotte at home, the Clippers, who are just now in complete reboot mode, I think. Then you have Utah at home. You have Brooklyn at home. You're at Charlotte. You're at Brooklyn. You still have New Orleans at home. I mean, I hate to say this, but, like, could this team screw everything up? Could you? From the 916, Grant, did you see the sell the team walkout for tomorrow's game circulating on X? It has 14,000 views. Well, first of all, 14,000 views is not a lot in today's day and age of social media. That's number one. Number two, I didn't really pay attention to it when I saw it. And the reason why I say I didn't really pay attention to it is until it happens, it's not news. And the fact that somebody puts a post on social media saying that we need to have a sell the team walkout, generally speaking, these things rarely work. They rarely have an impact. And rarely do you get people that are going to take the time to go to an event, spend the money, spend the amount of time it takes to fight traffic or park, walk into the building, and then all of a sudden just get up and leave. Okay? So, like, I didn't really pay attention to it. If it were to occur, then obviously I would be talking about it at great length. But I don't really pay attention to things like that because I've seen those type of, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Oh, we're going to have a walkout. Oh, we're going to boycott. Oh, we're not going to go to the games. How often does that really happen? How often do you see that? Seriously. You know what? Not very often. Hey, I want to talk to you about DAS Mechanical, HVAC retrofit and service specialist. They also do new systems, homeowners, businesses for commercial maintenance. They will take care of you. DAS Mechanical. They are specialists, as I said, when it comes to HVAC retrofitting and service. And if you have an emergency in the middle of the night, no heat, no problem. They're available 24/7. Family owned and operated, serving Sacramento and Placer counties. DASmechanical.org. D as in dog, A, S as in Sam, mechanical.org. You can book everything online. It is so simple. Check out all of their 5-star reviews and their numerous best of the best awards. That's DASmechanical.org. And should you need financing, keep in mind there are financing options, including 0% interest for 18 months. That's DASmechanical.org. 916-779-0929. We'll open up the phone lines. We'll read some messages. That's coming up next. What do you think, Kings fans? Like, what is your mood today after a very, very quiet week after the deal with the Cavaliers? Where are you right now? What's your mindset? What do you think? Let me know right here on Fox Sports Sacramento.
You've been saying you're going to pay better attention to your home's honeydews. Check one off your list right now by calling Gabruds Services to schedule a 12-point inspection of your home's electrical system. The safe rule of thumb is every 5 years for an inspection. If it's been 5 years or more, call Gabruds now. A qualified technician will provide a thorough inspection of the electrical system to ensure it's safe or alert you to potential problems. At Gabruds, electrical work is all we do. We are the area's recognized experts for anything electrical, and our number one priority is ensuring your home and family are safe. You've been saying you'll pay better attention to your home. Stop saying it. Make the call to Gabruds. Talk with a real person and schedule your 12-point inspection today. Gabruds, locally owned for more than 30 years. Gubruds.
Call the good dudes at Gabruds. Gubruds. Gabruds.com.
The new year is here, a fresh opportunity to tell people about your products and services so they know who to spend their money with. Fox Sports Radio has a Mount Rushmore of sports talk talent. Patrick, Cowherd, Gottlieb, and Sacramento's own Grant Napier, and they have an audience you can take to the bank. This is Fox Sports General Manager Kurt Bagelman. Sports Talk listeners are a unique, target-rich group of consumers. They're employed, they earn six-figure incomes, 2/3 own their own homes, and they listen to the radio longer. Let me repeat that. They listen longer, so your commercial message has more opportunity to be heard. It costs nothing to learn how a good strategy and a great schedule could help your business. So call me, 916-779-0914. 916-779-0914. Radio gets results, and we are here to help. Call 916-779-0914.
Wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind. Like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest.
Uh-oh.
Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash.
Fantastic.
Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control. Yikes! So you're on your own with the wasps. You have the power to take control of prediabetes. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
Don't forget Chris Landry, LandryFootball.com at 4 o'clock. Olden Polynice to talk about the flurry of moves this week in the NBA at 5 o'clock. And your phone calls. Let's get to Citrus Heights and Bob. Hello, Bob.
Hello. I am very pleased that we had a quiet trade week for the Kings. All season I have felt they were putting the cart before the horse as far as putting everybody in the trash can and starting over. The one trade they did make, I didn't like getting rid of Ellis. The one trade, though, maybe Hunter can be adequate, be pretty good as a power forward. I think they need that. And then Murray can go to the quick forward. But this team took a long time to assemble. And just a year or so ago, they were good. They were considered possibly one player away from going a long ways in the playoffs.
That's more than 1 year ago.
Yeah. They worked an awful long time to get a center. I mean, a really good one. Lottie was good, but he was at the end of his career.
No, he wasn't at the end of his career. He was in the prime of his career when the Kings got him. But that's ancient history. That's 25 years ago. So let's move forward to now.
Oh. And even since then, they had the great leader, DeMarcus Cousins, which means the Kings did not have a leader at all. And finally, they come in with Sabonis. Now, there's a ball player who has a great attitude. He's fundamentally really sound. And he's had the knee problem this year, but he's not that old. And then I was very sorry they got rid of JV, but then they got this Maxim from Stanford, and he's a good backup. And their whole lineup, I think, is worth hanging on to. I think Clifford, probably Levine, Monk and Carter.
It's not worth hanging on to. I'm sorry. I disagree, Bob. They've got 12 wins and 40 losses. It's not worth hanging on to.
Well, that's this year, and this year is a total ridiculous. This is awful. But two things that if they keep these players, they're going to have to forget about Levine. They're going to pay him next year, and that's it. They took on his contract when they traded for him, so they knew about that. And make the best you can of it, and after next year, you save that money. But two huge things that I think can propel this team. I like Doug Christie, but he's inexperienced. They need to get a coach, if they can find one. I don't know if they want to come to our place, but they need to get a coach with experience who's a motivator. And I agree. That will be a great start. And hopefully they're going to get a real dominant draft pick.
I hope so, Bob.
And I think with that, I think it's too early to dump them in the tank.
Thank you, Bob. I appreciate your phone call. You have a very good rest of your Thursday. Let's get to Mac Mac, you're on with Grant Napier on Fox Sports Sacramento. Hi, Mac.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
I just wanted to answer. What am I thinking? Like, obviously, it's like from a fan's perspective, it is disappointing to know that we're going to continue to watch and just have to maybe the same team. But I do like the fact that Scott Perry is saying I'm not let's not make a trade just to make a trade and to wait for value, because as we've talked about, we need as many picks as possible. And if that means waiting until the summer, that's great. But one thing I will, and waiting for other players, a year to come off of their contract to make them more movable, that's fine. The one thing that I won't be able to stomach is if it's October and this is it's the same team and guys that could be moved aren't. That's the one thing that that's where it would be kind of my breaking point. But that's all I had to say for answering your question of how I felt.
Thank you, Mac. Appreciate
have a good day.
All
Bye-bye.
right, you too. 916-779-0929. So, Ryan, we talk about the pulse of the Kings fan right now. I just think they're bewildered. They're scratching their head. They're just kind of like, what's next? They're waiting for the other shoe to fall off, or the shoes have already fallen off. They're waiting for something else to fall off. I'm not really sure, but it's just the doom and gloom attitude is what I'm sensing. Just being on social media, some of the things on my timeline, getting on the internet, it's just there's a lot of doom and gloom. And I get that. I understand you're 12-40. You wanted some movement. You wanted to see a glimpse into what might be the future in addition to a draft pick. And right now it's the same team.
Yeah, I want to listen to Scott Perry one more time.
Sure.
No matter when the trade deadline has been previously in my career, you're always active on the phones. And that's part of the job of being a general manager, is knowing the pulse of the league and trying to figure out, is there some sort of deal that you can do for your basketball team that's not only going to help you in the short term, but in the long term? And does that move align with your vision and goals moving forward? So what people don't often realize, it is extremely difficult to consummate a trade in this league, because again, we go into the market looking for certain things. Obviously we want to get a little bit younger, a little more athletic, but 29 other teams, they're going into the market with their vision and goals and objectives they want to accomplish. And so you've got to marry the two to obviously consummate a deal, but it's not from a lack of effort and work. We're going to do that. And I've said all along, we're going to be prudent and opportunistic. We're not going to do anything rash that will cost us down the line.
And that was 3 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago. I'm seeing a lot of the same things on my timeline. My frustration, and the frustration that I think a lot of fans are going through, is at late in the deadline. You saw teams like Oklahoma City yesterday when SGA's injury was announced. They go out and get McCain. Right? Surgery on his elbow. They go out and get Jose Alvarado.
Yep.
And so for me, it's like, yeah, you need another partner, but there's some really good players that teams did not have in their plans. Maybe they had them like on their want list, but when something happened to one of their players, they were able to make a call and get that player.
Yep.
And so that's kind of the head scratcher for me, because I didn't expect major moves last night. I didn't think there were going to be any moves. If anything, it was going to be on the fringe. But I am starting to question, what is a Scott Perry player? What is the vision? Because all this noise about RJ Barrett, when we talked to DeAndre Hunter, he said, well, Scott Perry wanted me initially, and he was really happy that I was able to bring him now. Well, Scott Perry drafted RJ Barrett, and now he wants to bring him to Sacramento. Are we just rerunning what Scott Perry thinks is his hits, if you believe some of these rumors? And so that's where I think Kings fans get very skeptical, Grant.
They have every reason to be skeptical, not just based on the current management of the Sacramento Kings, but because of who the owner is and because of what has transpired in the past. They have every right to be skeptical. They should be skeptical. And there's one thing in pro sports that's a beautiful thing, and it's true in all team sports. It's called the standings. And the standings say that the Kings are the worst team in the NBA. And they are in the midst of the worst season in franchise history, where on too many nights they're not competitive. And yet we hear about the standards and we hear about these 6 core principles. And it's just kind of like, at some point, all right, at some point, you want to see some momentum moving forward. And then you have your general manager who, again, he gets 3 years. You know, I'm not going to say that he needs to be replaced after 9 months on the job, because that's absurd. He gets 3 years to put his stamp on the team, and we'll see where we're at. He's done some very good things. He's done some things that have made me raise my eyebrows. But let's see what happens this coming off season. Oh my gosh.
Oh my.
You want to talk about like an important off season? Wow.
Massive. And to your opening statement about how it was happening with Dennis Schröder, I think it warrants a follow-up question, because possibly you had 2 players involved. Scott called one, BJ called the other at the same time. They didn't want one to find out before the other. Who knows? But yes, that does strike you as a little bit weird.
All right, let's get to Big Al right here on Fox Sports Sacramento. What's happening, Big Al?
Happy trade day, Mr. Napier, sir. Happy trade day for the Kings. I was listening to your stuff. Yeah, you're absolutely right, though. That's at least you're fair about it. You know, the owner gave him 3 years. You don't even think about cutting anybody loose until he's usually into that. I would agree, into it, or even so deep into it, and with 2 or 3 really super questionable deals, then you say, okay, didn't work. And that's sad for Kings fans, because it's happened. Management change too often. I just wanted your take. So I got a shooter. I think JJ said, hey, let's get Luke. He's an outstanding shooter. Maybe he can teach some of the guys how to shoot better. The ones having problems down in Los Angeles because they cannot shoot. And they should be able to. I mean, Austin should be able to. Lucas should have a higher percentage. Anyway, that's not their problem, as you know. They're not. They have other issues too. They can't play a stitch of defense on the perimeter. Just cannot do it. Don't have that.
Well, their number one issue, in my opinion, is they have the majority of their players don't want to be there. That's the biggest issue, is that you have too many players in the locker room that were praying that they were going to get a phone call this week saying that they were going to be moved and be going elsewhere. So that's the problem. And if those players are on the roster next year, it becomes a problem next year. And that happens with losing teams. And I know, because I've lived through it so many times. Players want to get out. They want to be gone. And the reality is Sacramento is not a destination that players want to go to. And they want to leave. And when they do leave, they're happy to leave. And that trend hopefully will change here in the near future. But I don't think so.
Yeah. So, Grant, what do you think? I mean, on other shows, national blah blah, national things. So I looked at the top 4 or 5 guys. Let's believe the Kings get a 1, 2, 3 for their sakes, really good. But I didn't see anybody jumped off the page to me, and I've seen these guys play a little, not a lot yet. I don't always judge it by, of course, the NCAA championships. But they're all great athletic. But I mean, are they really? Will they have the kind of desire that they really want to be a leader, a dog in the Kings locker room? I'll take it off air. You can tell me what you think about the Kings draft prospect.
Thank you. The only time I've seen dogs is when I go to the vet or PetSmart. All right. I haven't seen a dog on the Kings, in a while. But what I would say is, when you are in a bad situation and you are in a situation, listen, players, I don't know how to say this. Like, they talk amongst themselves all the time. They're together all the time. They're with one another more than they're with their families. All right. And there are a lot of conversations that go on in a locker room, whether it's on the plane, whether it's at a meal, whether it's texting. And when the environment gets bad, which is what it is now, and they can say anything they want, I'm telling you, like, I have eyes and I've lived it and I know. And when you hear Malik Monk last week or this week, on Monday, come out and say, you know, how Dennis and Keon, they wanted out. They're glad to be out. Like, that goes for almost every single player in that locker room. They wish they were Dennis Schröder and Keon Ellis on the move. Now, I don't know if they wish they were going to Cleveland, but my point is, okay, and Cleveland could be an interesting team here down the stretch drive. But, like, you have to listen to that. Ryan, we talked about that. You were kind of like, wow, how about what Malik just said? Like, he just came right out and said it. Well, he said what I already knew. He said what did not surprise me. But the fact that he said it, I think, surprised you a little bit.
Yeah, it did. I mean, in that form, Malik's always a very straight shooter, and he'll get right to the point. But considering what this season has been, considering you're 24 hours from the deadline, considering how close Malik was with Keon Ellis, it surprised me.
What do you think, folks? 916-779-0929. We'll come back and we'll continue this conversation. We'll switch to football at 4 o'clock with Chris Landry, LandryFootball.com. 916-779-0929 on Fox Sports Sacramento.
We are
Hey, it's Grant Napier for Village Financial Group. I have known broker-owner Spencer Grimmenstein for 25 years, ever since he began his family-owned business. Whether it's a home equity line of credit or buying or selling a home, Spencer is a very creative financing specialist with access to private money. Check out Village Financial Group at bfgloans.com or call Spencer at 916-805-4868. Be sure and call for the investor special. And if you go to their website, bfgloans.com, you can find over 9,000 properties available for purchase. Folks, Spencer is awesome. Trust me. Again, I've known the guy since 2000. It makes sense to call Spence at 916-805-4868. Village Financial Group, looking out for your best interest. Call 916-805-4868.
Are you SAC Alert? Have you signed up to receive emergency alerts via phone, text, email, or app? Well, what are you waiting for? Winter is coming, and that means there is potential for storms and flooding in our county. Don't get caught off guard or left in the cold. Get urgent storm evacuation and shelter information immediately sent directly to your device. Sign up today at sacramento-alert.org. Again, that's sacramento-alert.org. It's free, quick, and easy to do, and can literally be a lifesaver.
Remember, always be generous with the nutmeg. Just eyeball it.
Okay.
Mom's wisdom has served you well, but now it may be your turn to guide her.
Hey, I'm worried about Mom. She keeps forgetting her famous sweet potato pie recipe.
Some things come with age, sis.
And some don't.
Knowing the early signs of Alzheimer's in a loved one will help you make the best decisions for your family. Visit 10signs.org to learn the signs. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and I dedicate a lot of my time going fast. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently or having trouble with routine tasks. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. Visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council. Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and I dedicate a lot of my time going fast. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently or having trouble with routine tasks. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. Visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Hear that?
That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Snakes, zombies, public speaking. The list of fears is endless. But the real danger is in your hand when you're behind the wheel. Distracted driving is what's really scary and even deadly. Eyes forward. Don't drive distracted. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Congratulations to Dylan Cardwell. The Kings just announcing that they have agreed to a deal. It is believed to be a multi-year deal with 2 years of the deal guaranteed. So congratulations. You know what, Ryan? You love to see success stories, players that really have had to scratch and claw, who, undrafted, work your way through whatever it takes to succeed. And you have to be really happy for him. You really got to be happy for him. I mean, congratulations to Dylan Cardwell.
Absolutely. He scratches an itch that the Kings need. That's just hustle. It's enthusiasm. It's the dirty stuff. It's the enforcer. And it's a silent part that many fans don't recognize, but the Kings' ability to scout and their development of their undrafted players, Keon, now Dylan, and you're just seeing the start of Dylan. He's getting more comfortable on the offensive side, just from an offense standpoint, not even from a production in terms of shooting, but it's a real positive for the Kings, and that starts with Gabriel Harris and the guys down in Stockton who spend a lot of time with those guys, getting them ready to come up and have 50 games with the big team. So congratulations, Dylan. He deserves every bit of it.
All right, let's get to Ralph in Anaheim. Hello, Ralph. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Grant. Been following you for a while, and it's great to have you back on the radio. Love your show.
Thank you, Ralph. Thank you.
Yeah. So with what's puzzling with Scott Perry, and you mentioned our record being the worst in a while. I think there's one way to look at. I'm glad that we're on the trend of being one of the top picks, but I think you mentioned this before. The worst record doesn't always get the top two, top three picks. Sometimes they fall out. But what's funny about this team is we're not like a young team developing guys. We're playing our veterans, our aging veterans, and we still have the worst record. It's one thing if you were the Washington Wizards, which is actually pre-trade now, and they're on the right trajectory, pre-trade, and they're losing because you're young and trying to develop guys. We have old guys we're sending out and aging guys who can't play defense, and we're still trying. It seemingly looks like we're trying to win because the players don't try to tank, but we're still losing. That's what's just embarrassing and puzzling to me about the vision, the roster, Scott Perry's vision for it all. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, the trend has been, I thought last night was really the first true time where I could see what they were planning on doing. But, when I see Russell Westbrook and DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine some nights playing 35 and 40 minutes, it makes me wonder what the heck is going on. And here we are on the 5th of February, and I still do not understand why Scott Perry signed Russell Westbrook. It didn't make any sense then. It doesn't make any sense now. And I just, I don't get it. I really don't understand it. But it is what it is. But I thought last night in the fourth quarter, particularly in crunch time, other than really DeMar DeRozan, it was a youth movement. I know Westbrook, but Doug is so in love with Westbrook. I mean, I don't know if Doug could sleep at night if he didn't have Russell Westbrook on the floor at the end of the games. I mean, the guy is infatuated with him to a point where it's like, come on, really? Like, come on.
So if we get to the point when Keegan comes back eventually in 2 weeks or so, as much as I want to see Keegan and DeAndre Hunter and other players to play with Nick Clifford, I don't want it at the expense of winning games because I'd rather keep us lower and increase our lottery chances. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Yeah, but it's a really tough situation. And so what I think you're going to see is, when the games get close in the fourth quarter, they will just go to a complete youth movement. I'm with you. You cannot screw this thing up now. You've come too far. It's been so bad. You can't mess it up now. You just can't.
Yeah, exactly. Because we've been for so many years, we've been trying to play in the middle. You can't be in the playing spot. Going back to the 2010 era, just being in the middle doesn't get you anywhere. So I'll take it off here.
Yeah, and by the way, the young guys are going to try to win too. It's not like they're not going to try to win. I can guarantee you when Devin Carter's on the floor, he's playing for his NBA life. He Cardwell is going to go 100%. Max Reynaud, Nick Clifford, you hope will improve offensively. They're still going to go out and, bust their butts, and they're going to win some games. But you don't want them to win too many, that's for sure. Because, you just have to make sure you get one of the top 4 picks. You really do.
Spot on. And you need those guys to get those moments. And I'm looking at...
Sorry. Go ahead.
Gotcha. I'm looking at a text where the texter's confused about what I said with Scott Perry. In a nutshell, what I'm saying is I am confused about Scott Perry's, what he sees and how he evaluates NBA talent, not college talent, NBA talent. Because look at Devin Carter, Grant, and we saw Devin starting to get more run. I thought he played really well last night. You might not see that from his line, but Devin couldn't get off the bench. They buried Keon earlier this year. You know what I mean? And so that's where I worry if you're just going to go back to the guys that are kind of, proven, you liked them out of college. That's the safe space. Because if we see evaluations on some players like a Devin Carter, I think he is worth playing through the rest of the season.
I agree.
And
you know what I like about him? The ball really gets from the backcourt to the front court in a hurry.
Amen.
Whether it's with a pass or whether it's with him. Whereas with Westbrook on the floor, the ball just doesn't get from the backcourt to the front court fast enough. It just doesn't. And you saw a lot of offensive sequences in the game last night that began because of Carter quickly throwing the ball ahead.
That's right.
Or bringing it over himself with a full head of steam. I just really enjoyed the pace when he's on the floor.
That's right. He spent a decent chunk of time in Stockton, and that's how they play in Stockton. If you get scored on, you're throwing the ball ahead. You're playing fast. And so it's what he knows, and that's what's been missing, as you said, all season. And I'm going to give Doug some kudos last night. Westbrook was 3 of 10 from beyond the arc and still in crunch time with 4 minutes left. Doug pulled him out. So good for him. Those are the shots. And Devin took one last night. He just happened to miss it. But right. I do think, as you pointed out at the beginning of the show, these guys, as they start to formulate a little bit of chemistry because they have nothing to lose and they are playing for their professional careers in some cases, you might start winning some games. You're going to have a better shot at it because it's less predictable. You're going to get better effort. You're going to get more ball movement. We pointed out a lot of positives like Max Reynaud and Sabonis last night with the high-low, Grant. That was beautiful.
I'm not ready to give Doug Christie kudos for taking Russell Westbrook off the floor in the final 4 minutes. I mean, last night was February 4th, and he's been on the floor almost every single game at the end of games. And as much as, listen, I'm not bagging on Westbrook. We have talked about this ad nauseum. Okay, the guy plays his butt off. He's competitive. He's ready to go. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer when he's done. All of those things, all the superlatives, okay? But the reality is he's nowhere near the player that he was. And quite frankly, I mean, if you just want to call it the way it is, he has killed the team in the fourth quarters more times than he's helped them this year. And now all of a sudden, I got to wait until February 4th until Doug takes him off the floor in the fourth quarter.
Grant, at least it's starting. You got to start somewhere, right? You have to start somewhere. And you're right. Look, Russ has been great. We've had this conversation a million times. He passes Olajuwon last night for 14th all-time on the scoring list. The bottom line is, if Westbrook was on 29 other teams, he wouldn't have passed half of these records this year because the minutes would have been half to a quarter of what he's played here on this team.
Yeah, well, I'm probably in the minority when I say this. I don't give a damn about his records, okay?
Vivek
I don't really care about his records. I just don't. What?
Vivek does.
Well, yeah, good for Vivek, and that's why the Kings suck every year, because their priorities in the wrong place. I don't care about Russell Westbrook's records at all. You know what I care about? I care about an NBA team that looks like an NBA team, that's run like a professional franchise, that has some real oomph behind it, that has direction behind it, that gives the perception that they know what they're doing and that they have a plan. I don't care about Russell Westbrook passing Hakeem Olajuwon on the all-time points list. And the reason why I don't care is because on the scale of 1 to 10, it's near a 1 for me. Great for Russ, his career, and I'm not diminishing anything he's ever accomplished in his career. That's not what I'm doing. But from a Sacramento Kings fan, as somebody that lives in this community, as somebody that has watched this team since 1987, up close and personal, I don't give a damn about somebody that just came at the end of his career who's padding his stats and in the meantime, not playing, in my opinion, the way I want him to play at the end of games. Bad shot selection, bad defense, no ball movement. Mm-hmm. I mean, three-pointer after three-pointer after three-pointer after three-pointer. Like, I don't really care about the records. I really don't. Good for him, and good for him when he looks back at his glorious career and he can reflect on all of that. But, I got to watch a game and see everyone make a big deal that he moved up on the scoring list. I don't really care. Save it for me. Okay, the team is 12-40. I don't give a damn about his records. You know what I care about? I care about the Sacramento Kings becoming a professional basketball team one of these days. That's what I care about.
Amen. From the 530, I think it's too early to give Cardwell a multi-year deal. His college stats are horrible. Well, 530, if you're looking at his college stats, you're not looking at Dylan Cardwell. It's not about.
Who cares about his college stats?
I know.
Who cares about his college stats?
Yeah, it's insane. You don't get Dylan Cardwell.
Nobody's looking at really, we're going to talk about Dylan Cardwell and we're going to look at his stats at Auburn in his 5 years? What does that have to do with playing in the NBA? That has nothing to do with what he's doing right now.
Yeah.
He's not a stats guy anyway.
Dylan Cardwell can learn the parts of the game to improve. He has something that you can't teach already. 530. That's the point of Dylan Cardwell.
Yeah. All right, 916-779-0929. From the 916, we got an early rant today. That was awesome, Graham.
I almost played the drop.
Do you disagree with me or do you agree? It just seems like the whole season right now is centered around Russell Westbrook passing so-and-so on the all-time list for this or that, and the team makes a big deal out of it. And I'm like, oh, my gosh, stop already. Would you stop already? It's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I mean, it really is. It's just, again, this franchise doesn't do things the right way. They just don't. I mean, even this year, right? Even this year, they didn't do things the right way. They hired a general manager and didn't let him hire his own coach. They don't do anything the way you're supposed to do it. There's a right way of doing things and a wrong way of doing things. I mean, it's just so obvious. You're going to talk about your 6 core values, all right? Maybe you ought to go and tell your owner what your 6 core values are, and one of them is professionalism. Well, you know what that means? That means you let your general manager go out and hire his own coach. I mean, let's start there. Can we please? Seriously. When is this team going to be a professional basketball team instead of a clown show, instead of a circus? Because it is a clown show and it is a circus. And quite frankly, I don't see it changing. I mean, it's the same thing over and over and over again. Get your act together, would you please? Football talk. When we come back, Chris Landry, LandryFootball.com. Right here. The Grant Napier Show, Fox Sports Sacramento.
Call the good dudes at Gabruds. Gubruds.
Homeowners, if you have an electrical project you need done, then you need the good dudes at Gabruds. Family owned and operated for 30 years, Jay Gabrud and his team are the area's recognized experts for everything electrical, from the very basic like repairs, lighting upgrades, and whole house fans to the biggies, panel replacements, EV stations, and backup generators. Gabruds does it all and does it right the first time. They're actually the guys their competition recommends. Gabruds. Expert, 5-star service, and always transparent, honest prices and solutions. Say goodbye to your electrical issues. Visit Gabruds.com or call 24/7 and speak with a real live person. Gabruds. Gubruds.
Call the good dudes at Gabruds. Gubruds. Gabruds.com.
Hey, it's Grant Napier from my friends at DAS Mechanical. Did you know most homeowners are changing their heating and air systems from gas to all electric? It's about getting more energy efficiency and saving a lot more money every month on energy bills. If your current heating and air system is 15 years or older, it may be time to consider a change. Call DAS Mechanical first. Nearly all of DAS's work is gas to electric whole system changeouts. Nick and his team, they're experts. They also have 0% financing and 24/7 availability if you ever have a heating emergency. Award-winning, locally owned. It's DAS Mechanical, serving their Sacramento and Placer County neighbors for years. Save more on your energy bills. Call, text, or chat at 530-591-1055 to find out more, or go to dasmechanical.org. That's dasmechanical.org.
Grant Napier is back every weekday afternoon, 3 to 6. This is Fox Sports, KSAC 890 AM Olivehurst, K284CM 104.7 FM Sacramento.
Well, so far this week has been dominated by the NBA as they have taken over the sports headlines, but that will now change with the NBA trade deadline in our rearview mirror. There is a pretty big game on Sunday in Santa Clara. We're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about a few other things with Chris Landry. You can check everything out, LandryFootball.com. Check out his YouTube channel. He has great content on there as well. Chris, good afternoon. How are you?
I am doing good, Grant. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Before we get to the particulars of the game on Sunday, for somebody that analyzes and studies the draft and breaks it down as much as you do, if Fernando Mendoza was in last year's draft instead of this year, and he had just accomplished last year what he did this year, where would he go in your opinion? Would, like, Cam Ward was taken number one, where would Mendoza fit in your opinion if he was in last year's draft?
I think he'd be in the same grade tier. So the way way I think teams do it, it's not like you see it on TV or these websites where they just rank them 1, 2. That doesn't really exist. What you do is you stack them, but you put them in grade tiers. So what does that really mean? Is the upper tier grading scale puts you in the elite category 7.4 to 7.0, and then immediate starter 6.9 to 6.5, and both Cam Ward was in the 6.9 to 6.5 category. And if Fernando would have been in last year with this year's production, which is what you're saying,
yes,
he absolutely would have been in that same tier. Now, whether you different teams might have preferred maybe the physical build of Cam Ward, some would have preferred more of the intangibles with Mendoza, but both are starting caliber quarterbacks in the league. Tennessee's trying to put a team around them. And the Raiders, if they take Mendoza, are going to have to do the same as well. Or, we're going to have this conversation along the lines of what we had before as it relates to a starting quarterback in the game Sunday that was not really developed and did not have a good team put around him. And it takes a while to develop, and now he's finally hit it. So, yeah, no, he would have been in that higher grade tier if he would have, that's what he is this year. It would have been last year. And so you grade them, not rank them. You grade them and then you stack them. If you've got them in the same grade tier, well, which one would you prefer more? And I think there are different areas. I call them critical factors that you go through. You grade both numerically and with verbiage to determine here here the 9 or 10 or 12 or 15, however many critical factors at that different position, and you grade them, and you multiply that times the weighted score. So obviously the first most important critical factor, and let's say you got 10, well, then you multiply that grade times 10, because what that is saying is this is the most important factor. How did he grade there? And number 2, 3, 4, so on and so forth. So that gives you a bit of an idea. It's a checkpoint. It's a way to check yourself, because scouting is not about, hey, I like him, I watched him, let's take him. That's not how it works. It goes in a lot more detail than that. And I think he would have been very good, in any class on the basis of how he played this year.
When I had you on last week, I think Mike McCarthy had just been introduced as the head coach of the Steelers. And since then, there's been, obviously a lot more movement. Teams have filled vacancies, a lot of coordinators agreeing to jobs. And I'm asking you to do this right off the top of your head because there's been so much movement. Was there any one of these moves that made you raise your eyebrows that really surprised you? Or is it just part of doing business in the NFL and these individuals were going to get jobs? Or was it just a matter of where they were going to be?
None surprised me, because it kind of in doing some of the coaching search work, I kind of knew what people were thinking and at least who they were talking about. But like, for example, I didn't know who Cleveland was going to end up with. And I hate to say that because I think Todd's a really good coach, but they were looking at other people, and in the end, they've got who was left. So Todd was going to end up going in New York to be the coordinator for John at the Giants. But then, when a couple of other people backed out of the Browns job, and, it worked out to where he get the job. That's not a surprise per se, but that's not where they were leaning going into it.
All right, let's get to the game on Sunday. Is there one aspect of this game that jumps right out at you that you look at, okay, you scout this team, Seattle, you look at New England, and this has to happen in order for that team to win, not, of course, counting turnovers. Is there one mismatch that you see with these two teams?
I don't know about mismatch, but I think the real key is the protection of both quarterbacks. I think both quarterbacks have been good. I think Darnold's been better. I think Darnold has played a little bit cleaner under pressure. So, we'll see if that continues. I thought he was great against the Rams under pressure. I think that, for Seattle, they've got to maybe force the ball out quickly for Drake May, because when he holds it, there's some deep ball threats, and I think Seattle struggles a little bit with the deep ball. So I think keeping the defense, keeping the play in front of them, maybe that's an advantage for Seattle there. I think for New England, the mobility of Drake May, with all the zone that the Seattle will play, I anticipate that they'll play. It'll be interesting to see if they get forced into playing some man, how much Drake May runs, because I think his legs are a real viable option. And, on the other side, I mean, they got to find explosive plays through the deep ball. And, Seattle is the most efficient third down team. And it's because they are in third and short. So I think the real key for New England defensively, play well on early downs. It's not a new concept, but force third and longs, and then you got a different ballgame. That's for anybody. But Seattle has done a phenomenal job. Clint Kubiak does a great job on early downs, getting early success where there's a lot of third and shorts, where it opens up your playbook. I mean, even in second and short, you got a lot of options. You can take some chances, knowing that you got a really good chance to do multiple things to get a first down. So I think it's a pretty even matchup. I think Seattle's the better team. They're the more complete team. I think their best game wins this, but they're going to have to play well. I mean, it is about mistakes. I think games, in most cases, and certainly in games like this, they're lost more than they're won. It's not the plays you make, it's the plays you don't make. And so I think that's going to be pivotal. I think the line of scrimmage is good for both of these teams. But I think Seattle has been a little bit more complete, a little bit more consistent. But in a one-game scenario, there's not a whole lot that separates these teams. And so who plays best Sunday is I know that's what we all want to know, and we're going to have to watch it to find out. But I think both of these teams have been extraordinary down the stretch. A lot of talk about New England, and their schedule hadn't been very difficult. They have handled their business and have won decisively against some of those teams, and they have, down the stretch played great, and Seattle's done the same. So, look, I was thinking about this a little bit earlier. I mean, if we're having the discussion in September, we probably did. I don't remember. I didn't have Seattle and New England and the bingo card playing in the Super Bowl. And so I know all the time, well, who do you like winning the Super Bowl in September? And please, let's, it's just, what a great job. I thought Seattle could make the playoffs as a wild card, but it would have a hard time in the division, probably third in that division, maybe battling it out for Arizona for fourth. New England, I thought could get to 500, maybe 9 wins. And here we are. I think Seattle's ahead of schedule. New England's ahead of schedule. And you know what? Neither one of those teams see it that way. They're just going to put the blinders on and play and, go after it and be who they are.
Yeah, I don't think anyone had New England going to the Super Bowl after week 1 when Geno Smith and the Raiders won the game. But, the thing about New England, and you look at Mike Vrabel and where the Patriots were last year, and here they are playing in February. I just can't see a Mike Vrabel coach team not being in this thing with, 5 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter. And, yeah, I agree. I think Seattle's the better team, and I look at their team, and I'm like, they really should win, in my opinion. But, man, oh, man, I just have a tough time going against Mike Vrabel.
Oh, I expect them to be in the game. I expect them to have a great chance to win, and I really don't know who's going to win because you just mentioned it. It's going to come down to a play or two. It's going to be a drop ball. It's going to be about somebody missing a tackle. It's going to be a fumble. It's going to be about a bad decision that's a pick. It's going to be something like that. I don't know who, when, or where. It's going to be that. It's going to be a punt return that makes a big play or a punt fumble that's going to give a short field. It's in games like this that usually separates it. And, sometimes, even though it's evenly matched, if one team plays really sloppy, then the game could get out of hand, even though neither one of these teams are really equipped to hammer the other. You start making mistakes, and it becomes really easy to blow anybody out. So, I expect Mike's teams to play tough, to be there, to be mentally tough-minded. But I expect the same with Seattle. I think that they bring a lot of the same qualities as well. I think both of these teams are capable of running the football well. So, to me, it's, defensively, the run fits, 4th and 3rd and longs. I'm going to give me the team that has success on early downs that could create 3rd and shorts. That's the team that's going to have a much better chance of winning this game than somebody that's playing in 3rd and long. That's not where either one of these teams want to live. It's where no one wants to live. So who's the playmaker? What receiver is going to make the play? I mean, where the mismatch is going to be. I think there are I think there's some interesting candidates, and look, I favor Seattle, but I'm not real confident on who's going to win it.
I'm also curious to see how coaches are going to handle 4th down and shorts. We've seen the recent trend, regardless of whether, Chris, you want to talk about analytics or what have you, coaches giving up 3 points and it comes back and bites you. And I'm wondering, do you coach this game the same way you have all season? Do you gamble the way you have? I just wonder what happens. Do you bypass 3 points early in a game here because you got 4th and 2 at the 20-yard line? These are all aspects that I really am very interested in seeing how they're going to handle.
I think every game is a flow and an instinct. So, like, for example, we talked about it, Sean Payton in Denver, in a game that was low scoring, you don't pass up 3 points. Of course not. Those are valuable.
Sure.
In a game in which it's a bunch of points up and down, 3 points ain't going to win it. You better be scoring every possession, so you go for it. You got to have a feel for the game. Early in the game, don't know. I think a lot of in the early part of the game is feeling out. So everybody comes in with a game plan, with an anticipation of what the opposition's going to do on both sides of the ball. And, what I think and what I've always believed in is don't do anything to lose the game early. So you anticipate what they're going to do. If they don't give you the look that you anticipate. Be smart. Don't turn it over offensively. And defensively, be smart. Maybe play a little loose and don't give up the big play. But once the game gets in a flow, you see what they're doing. That's when you see the adjustments that you can make. Okay, this is how they're going to play it. This is what we need to do. So I think early you probably take the points. I think both of these defenses will play pretty well, but let this game get a little bit hyper up and down. Man, you better get first downs, touchdowns. I'll say this too. I'm a big believer on 4th and short. I'm a big believer in going in there and really having a good play, some good motion, and working to get them to jump off sides. I think that is an art. So I'm always in favor of going out there and simulating that. Now, I realize they think it, but sometimes guys get jittery, particularly in a game like this. I think every 4th and short, I am lining up offensively, and I am, quote, air quotes, going for it. I'm not snapping it necessarily, but I am going to line up. And I'm gonna take my chances that I might get somebody that's just a little bit over anxious, and I can get a cheap first down.
When you look at Drake May's development in his short career, coming out of college, getting ready for the draft, and everything that you do to break down an individual, grade them, and your system, like, has he just blown away the learning curve? I mean, I know people had high expectations for him, but I don't think we'd see him in the Super Bowl this early in his career. What makes him so special?
Well, when he came out, we talked about tiers of the earlier session. I thought he, Caleb, and the Jaden Daniels were in that same tier, high tier. He had all the physical tools. He comes from a really good athletic background, knows how to compete. Probably know the story, the background with the parents and brothers, basketball at North Carolina, and he's just a really good young man. Learns the game very well. Yeah, he struggled early. Why? Well, the first year it's growing pains. But look what they did. So you want to know how did New England do it? Well, yeah, it's not just they drafted Drake May, but they developed him. Give credit a lot to Josh McDaniels. Give credit to what they've done. Look at the money they spent in free agency, which spending money in free agency doesn't equate to success necessarily. But spending the money and getting the right type of guys, look at how much more talented that roster is now than it was last year. And give Mike Vrabel a lot of credit for creating a lot of team chemistry, a lot of team first. Sounds like a little, hokey, high schoolish. Those guys believe. Those guys have a toughness and a grit that has, I think, helped them. And yes, I don't buy the whole easy schedule, but the playing maybe not as difficult teams getting a little bit better. You just mentioned the first week. It's not about the first week. It's how much better do you get? Look at how much better that they've gotten through the course of the year. So
yeah,
I think it's Drake May. I think it's the coaching of him, the coaching around him. It's really with a lot of quarterbacks. I think most of them, not all of them, because the guy has to have great willingness to learn and has to have a great capacity to learn. But a lot of guys are capable of being successful. But the biggest thing I see is the poor development and the lack of continuity. Give me the guy that is in a system where there's consistency, and you're going to have a much better chance of success regardless of the skill set than the guy that goes through multiple coordinators, multiple quarterback coaches, multiple head coaches. You never can stabilize things, so you're never developing. You're constantly starting over. So you're just basically like rebooting and setting the clock over. And so sometimes the guy's in his third year and he's like a rookie because he is a rookie from the standpoint. And I think it has a lot to do with how guys are developed. I don't think a lot of guys. I don't think Brock Purdy would be all that good. And I'm not trying to pick on anybody, but you put Brock Purdy with the Jets. Tell me what that looks like.
Right.
Seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not going to work. You
Yeah.
know, but look at what's done. So that is for the guys in the league, and that's for the guys that's coming up. I mean, you know, I think they made a move in Tennessee. You mentioned that Cam Ward, because look, we need to get a better quarterback coach. We need to get the quarterback fixed, and that's great. Then they got to put a team around them. If they can, they're fine.
Yeah.
Jacksonville has a quarterback that's talented. Boy, he looked good this year, didn't he? Well, he wasn't as good early. Why? Urban Meyer's running a college offense. Now he's got to run a different offense, then a third offense. And so you're seeing a different type of guy now where he's starting to develop. And, oh, by the way, they've got some playmakers around them. Jacksonville's future is looked pretty good. C.J. Stroud looked great that first year, didn't he? Well, they've taken a huge step back. Great defense, bad offensive line. Took a step back with their offensive coordinator. So his development has been retarded. And so now they're just, you see, that's where the things need to be focused on. And I think sometimes guys don't have maybe the mental toughness or the patience to develop through all of that. They get frustrated, and other guys can handle that better. And the ones that can come through the storms end up the brightest down the road.
Final thing for you. You just mentioned the Jets a moment ago, and I'm looking at the tabloids every day and peeking in on New York sports talk radio as it relates to Aaron Glenn. I mean, how bad are things in New York for Glenn when basically the entire staff that he hired a year ago is gone? They had a dismal record, and I know that with Woody Johnson, you don't know what's going on with that franchise, but I mean, can we say that Aaron Glenn is going to be on the hot seat already in year 2 if things don't turn in a hurry?
I got to tell you, there was some talk internally about letting him go after 1 year. I mean, we've seen
I
it.
believe
It's
it.
rare.
I believe it.
You know, there again, therein lies the problem. So if you're an assistant coach and you know what the staff, what the organization is like, you got a chance to leave the Jets and go somewhere else as an assistant coach where there's more stability. What are you going to do? Of course you're going to leave.
Sure.
That hurts the head coach. It you know, they say the fish rots from the head, that the organization rots from the top or succeeds from the top. I have nothing against Woody. I have no doubt he wants to win. He doesn't know how. And I think it's constant change. This is not working. Well, it's not working because you don't create a stable environment. You don't have a real plan that you stick to. It's kind of like a plan du jour. This doesn't work. We'll try that. We'll throw in this spice, that spice. We'll try to do that. It's just, you got to have something that is proven to work, and you've got to have guys that know how to develop, and don't hire guys to bring a system. Hire guys that know how to develop a system, modify a system, be patient with them. I know it's New York. I know they're going to want to fire you after week 1. I get it. You don't have to listen to them, okay? And the Giants operate better, and I know they haven't always had success either, and even recently they haven't. But they don't react. They don't have the thin skin to react to the tabloids quite like they do in the Jets and Hempstead. So that's the problem. And I have to be quite honest with you, I don't know if Aaron Glenn can be a good head coach. I don't know, because he's in a place where it's not a good formula or a good place that's conducive to success. I think there are a lot of coaches that could be good that don't have success there. Parcells did it. I thought Rex did a pretty good job, but I thought they had some things going a little bit differently at that time, and they've just gotten worse now. They've gotten worse. They just overreact in the front office moves. They've got all these like consultants that everybody wants to weigh in, and you got everybody that thinks, they got an open door to the owner and thinks we're going to do this or that. How are you going to do that? You got to have a vision, and everybody needs to be pulling on the same rope. Everybody right now in that organization is trying to focus on what can I do to angle myself to get this and that. It's not going to work. It doesn't work. I mean, if it works, it's going to be by luck and happenstance. And luck and hope's not a strategy, Grant.
No, great point. Great point. Chris, enjoy the game on Sunday. I appreciate you. Thanks very much.
All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate you. Take care.
Yep. That's Chris Landry, LandryFootball.com right here as we move on in hour number 2. Hey, if you've been waiting to buy a home, you've heard me talk about the real estate market and the expected Fed rate cuts that will renew the housing market demand. And, yeah, buyers are going to flood the market. Bidding wars will happen. Homes will sell quickly. And if 2026 is the year that you're going to be selling your home or you're in the market to buy a home, you need somebody that is very experienced. And that's why I love talking about Spence from Village Financial Group. He is the owner and broker of Village Financial Group. Spencer's white glove service, it's a boutique experience, folks. Consider it a one-stop shop method. And the bottom line is it makes it so easy for you because Spence is going to navigate you through the process from start to finish. Now, he's got extensive home listings to choose from throughout Northern California, which you can also check out at vfgloans.com. That's vfgloans.com. He's got 30 years mortgage brokering experience, and he will get you the best rates. He has access to private money, folks, and this is going to help you expedite getting your offer accepted and closed. It makes sense to call Spence at 916-805-4868. Feel free to text him as well, 916-805-4868. Village Financial Group, looking out for your best interest. We will open up the phone lines once more when we return. The number, 916-779-0929. The Grant Napier Show, rolling right along. Olden Polynice at 5 o'clock right after Grant's Rant on a busy Thursday here in Sacktown.
Okay, we are running a car drive right now to help veterans all across America. So if you have an old car, truck, or van, even a motorcycle or an RV sitting around, you can right now give it away and help the vets. They really need your help. And your car will help support the vets and their families. And guess what? You even get a tax donation. Plus, we'll even come and pick up your car for free. And all you've got to do is pick up your phone right now and make a free call. Now is the perfect time to do something good for the vets. Give back to the vets right now for all they've done for this country. And your old car can really help them. So call the Veterans Car Donation Program right now for free pickup of your vehicle. Help the vets and help your taxes at the same time. Call right now.
800-598-0539. 800-598-0539. 800-598-0539. That's 800-598-0539.
The new year is here, a fresh opportunity to tell people about your products and services so they know who to spend their money with. Fox Sports Radio has a Mount Rushmore of sports talk talent. Patrick, Cowherd, Gottlieb, and Sacramento's own Grant Napier, and they have an audience you can take to the bank. This is Fox Sports General Manager Kurt Bagelman. Sports Talk listeners are a unique, target-rich group of consumers. They're employed, they earn six-figure incomes, 2/3 own their own homes, and they listen to the radio longer. Let me repeat that. They listen longer, so your commercial message has more opportunity to be heard. It costs nothing to learn how a good strategy and a great schedule could help your business. So call me, 916-779-0914. 916-779-0914. Radio gets results, and we are here to help. Call 916-779-0914.
NBA trade deadline is behind us, thankfully. Now what? What's next for the Kings? The Clippers are next. And then should be some fun on Saturday. James Harden expected to make his Cavaliers debut. Keon Ellis, Dennis Schröder back in. Schröder and Ellis playing last night in the blowout win in L.A. against the Clippers. Should be a very interesting environment Saturday at Golden One Center, Rhino. It's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I'm with you. Speaking of the Clippers, the trade they made today, sending Zubats to Indy, I think it's a great trade for Indy, by the way, because he's a really good player at a good number.
Boy, they gave up a lot, though.
They sure did. They did indeed. But that being said, now Kawhi is left in L.A. It looks like they're heading for a tank, or at least somewhat of a rebuild. We still haven't
Which
heard.
is amazing because they had just won 17 of 21 games.
Right. Do they know something we don't know about this payroll evasion?
Yeah, they may very well, because they were on the move, up and coming, and they just blew it all up. Right?
I mean, there were rumors that the NBA wanted it done or announced before the All-Star game.
Yes.
And we're a week from All-Star weekend?
Right? Got to be coming out soon, don't you think?
I do. Is this the end of Kawhi Leonard, regardless of the investigation in Los Angeles?
Absolutely. Well, if you look at this from both sides, Indiana now has their center to replace Miles Turner, who left for the Bucks, and I'm looking really towards next year. But so Mathurin, Isaiah Jackson, and the Clippers also get 2 first-round picks and 1 second-round pick. That's a lot.
Yeah,
that's a lot. And I love Zubats. I think he's very good.
They're legit first-round picks, too.
Yes.
One from the Thunder and the other from the Pacers, correct?
No, the Thunder get the Clippers' first-round pick in 2026.
Okay.
It's unprotected.
Okay.
I mean, can you imagine a Thunder? They're probably going to have another lottery pick. It's unbelievable to me.
And they just got Jared McCain to cover SGA.
Yes. Is that incredible?
Yeah. When you're ran the right way and you are in a position to swerve. I mean, I thought that was one of the better things Monty McNair did. He kept things fairly, his liquidity with players was good. He didn't really have a bad contract until Levine.
Well, I'll tell you what else, assuming that Halliburton comes back and he's good, which, I hope that is the case. He and Zubats are going to be very interesting on the pick and roll.
Yeah.
That's going to be a very nice tandem in Indiana with a great coach in Rick Carlisle. Again, we don't know whether Halliburton will return to form, but I would think the answer would be yes, with medical technology and what we've seen in the past. That Zubats and Halliburton, that's going to be interesting to watch.
Yeah. Heck, I actually think, who do you think's a better pick and roll player, Harden or Hallie?
Boy, that's a fabulous question. I mean, just based on the number of years, I'd have to say Harden. I mean, think about all the switches that they've been able to get over their career, and I'm talking about Harden playing with a lot of different people, which results in that patent and step back three. And
right,
it's an interesting question. I haven't really thought about it until you just asked. What do you think?
I think Hallie is better at reading the floor, and that's the dangerous side for him because he can make that pass anywhere. Harden's more dangerous with the step back. You always got to go over, and you basically have to do that with Hallie too. So if you could put the two of their games together, it would be the perfect pick and roll.
Well,
go ahead.
No, what I was going to say is we talk about combinations, and when you look at the Kings right now in the future, right? And the future meaning next year, with a lot of moves that are going to have to be made this summer, the Kings don't really have that right now. I mean, I'm not ready to put Nick Clifford as a point guard. I do think his passing and being able to see the floor is very advantageous, but it still has to result into numbers and not as many turnovers. And, it's a process, and maybe he will get there. But the players that we are looking at right now on the Sacramento Kings, even without knowing the moves that they're going to make in the offseason, it's going to be totally different next year, and it needs to be totally different.
Yeah, absolutely. The Kings need to get their guys back to their normal positions. And in a way, I've seen Scott Perry try to do that. There's an effort to get Keegan to the 3, which makes me say point guard, point guard, point guard from the draft, depending on where they're at. Our guy Adam in Lincoln says, so the Kings have the top waiver spot as well as one open spot on the active roster still. Are they going to wait and pick someone up? Please tell me it's not Lonzo Ball, according to Adam.
No, I can't imagine it being Lonzo Ball. Can you?
No. I don't.
First, I mean, they have Russell Westbrook on their team.
Yeah, I don't see why the King, they're not going to make a splash. There's no reason to make a splash. No. And here's the bigger conversation league-wise now, Grant, is the 2027 draft is considered to be a little bit down for drafts, closer to last year's draft outside of Cooper Flag. And you now have a situation where Ja is still in Memphis. Giannis is still in Milwaukee. Milwaukee's going to want to protect Giannis. How is the NBA going to police this?
Well, it's interesting you talk about, other than Cooper Flag, there are players that were taken at the top of the draft this year that have turned out to look like they are really, really good players. Right?
Yeah.
So, look at Charlotte, right? Look at Philadelphia, right? I'm just mentioning teams that took players that, and I know you from the get-go, you were high on Edgecombe. You thought, hey, this guy's going to be really good.
Yeah.
But, Charlotte's got themselves a real jewel there right now.
No, they do. You're absolutely right. And my point being with that, most drafts, you're going to have a couple of those guys. But once you got past, I think there was only a consensus top 3 in this last draft. And then it became much more subjective rather than objective. It was team preference, what you can develop more, what you like, rather than taking the best player available. But anyways, because it's such a strong draft, I wonder, you're not going to be in a rush to get Ja on the court. If you're Washington, you're definitely not in a rush to get Trae Young and AD on the court. Dallas, yeah, you've got some more picks. Cooper's playing better. You're going to be in a rush to get Kyrie back because you need to have a good draft pick this year, because after that, your draft picks are scarce outside of what you have from the latest trade that they made.
916-779-0929. And I'm going to make a prediction right now. I don't know the top 4 players that will be called when we get to the NBA draft in June, but I will make a prediction right now that one of those 4 players will turn out to be a bad pick. It happens every year. Doesn't matter how strong the draft is. It does, whether you want to go and talk about Markelle Fultz, or you want to talk about Marvin Bagley, or you want to go, every year, you can just take a player that's taken in the top 3 to 5 and you go, gee, what happened to them? Right? And it will happen again this year. I mean, if you want to just go and talk about Marvin Bagley because of the history here in Sacramento, regardless of whether you think the Kings should have taken Bagley or not, the reality is he was on top of everyone's draft board. All 30 teams had Marvin Bagley rated as one of the very best players coming out of college that was eligible for the draft. All right? Like, that's not disputable. All right? Everyone had Marvin Bagley as one of the very top players in the draft. So there will be a player that's going to be taken this year that will end up being a disappointment, and I would put a rather large wager on that being the case. All right, 916-779-0929. Last week at this time, he was walking around New York City in the frigid temperatures with no socks on, and now he is back in Northern California, and that is Dorian. How are you, sir?
What's up, Grant? I miss New York, brother. I miss the cold. I'm a cold guy, so I miss walking around New York, man. It's such a beautiful place. I would thrive there.
And you miss Carmine's.
Oh man, I miss Carmine's. That was an experience. It was great. It was great hanging out with Patrick too. Obviously, Patrick, Long Island, born and raised, and it was great to meet somebody from your community, Grant, that you've built over these years.
Yeah.
Man. So thanks to you, brother. Thanks to you, and what you've done for people and in the community you built, Grant. We were able to meet up in person, which is really awesome. So thanks again.
I love that. That's great.
Of course, Grant. Grant, I'm not really mad that the Kings didn't really make as many moves as I think a lot of people maybe I might have anticipated. Being what happened last year with dealing Fox so early, do you think that this summer potentially gives the Kings some ammunition in regards to, expiring contracts with possibly LaVine, with DeRozan? Obviously, there was that rumor with Sabonis and a pretty close deal with the Raptors, but do you think this can kind of position the Kings to at least possibly make somewhat of a move in the summer to get rid of DeRozan or even have LaVine possibly opt out? Because, if I'm Scott Perry, I'm talking to LaVine's camp and I'm saying, hey, man, we'll gladly pay you your 48, 49, whatever much $50 million that you're going to get this year, but you're not going to play. You're going to get no more than 15 minutes because it's clear that LaVine doesn't really want to be here. It's clear that the fans don't really like LaVine here in Sacramento, although his game is really
There's no way he's going to opt out. He's not going to opt out.
Yeah.
They can tell him he's not going to play at all, and he's not going to opt out.
For sure. But even heading, and I don't want to foresee, right? There's still a lot to go. There's still a lot of time left. But do you think this potentially at least gives some Kings some way to wager with the deal, potentially for next trade deadline with these expiring contracts?
There's a lot of possibilities, Dorian, and it's very difficult to go through all of them. What we do know is there are currently several players on the team that need to be elsewhere next year, and more importantly, want to be somewhere else next year.
Of course.
All right, and I can just tell you the three of them are DeMar DeRozan, all right, Domantas Sabonis, and Zach LaVine. They don't want to be here, and I don't blame them. I wouldn't want to be here either. They're not the only ones, but I can't see a scenario next year where Sabonis and DeRozan are on the team. LaVine, I think you're stuck with. And by the way, I love Sabonis, and I think what has happened to him this year, and the injuries certainly factor into it. But I just don't like what's gone on this year with Sabonis, and I think he's going to want to get out of Dodge. I can I don't know this for 100%, but just knowing and being around pro sports, I got to believe he's pretty unhappy today that he is still on the Kings.
Yeah, of course. I mean, for any athlete that's competitive, right? You hate to lose, and unfortunately, Sabonis has only had that one great year with the Kings, being team one. And
no, I don't agree with you. I don't agree with you. He's only had one good year. The last 2 years, Dorian, he's been screwed from the All-Star team. He had legitimate All-Star seasons the last 2 years and was not selected and should have been.
Sure, and what I meant by that was not statistically, but as a team, and team meaning losing.
Oh yeah,
but obviously
for sure.
Sabonis as an individual, yeah, of course.
Yeah,
he got screwed at an All-Star game twice. But the Kings get a point guard, Grant. Like, where are the Kings? Who is the Kings' point guard? It's not Russell Westbrook for the future. So
yeah, they're going to have to draft one.
Point guard?
Yep.
Yeah, and if I'm the Kings, I need to hit on this pick no matter what. And I'm not talking like I'm getting a Keegan Murray type of player. I'm getting a Davion Mitchell type of player. Like I got
you. I understand. You got to get a home run. I got you.
You got to hit a home run. Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks, Grant. I appreciate you, man.
Thank you, Dorian. When we come back, I'm going to tell you about a very interesting story involving Aaron Rodgers, a story that is interesting but not surprising at all to me. That's next here on Fox Sports Sacramento.
We are Fox Sports. If you can't remember the last time you had your home heating system inspected, it's probably time. Right now, Sierra Pacific Home and Comfort is offering a $79 complete heating and air system inspection. We'll check your entire system, clean it up, and make sure it's running perfectly. Call or visit us online today and schedule your $79 winter system inspection at SierraPacificHome.com.
Sierra Pacific Solar Heating and Air, the guys in the big red trucks.
Homeowners, for any electrical project you need done, trust the good dudes at Gabruds. Locally owned, 5-star service experts, always transparent prices and solutions. Say goodbye to your electrical issues. Call Gabruds or visit Gabruds.com. Gubruds.
Are you SAC Alert? Have you signed up to receive emergency alerts via phone, text, email, or app? Well, what are you waiting for? Winter is coming, and that means there is potential for storms and flooding in our county. Don't get caught off guard or left in the cold. Get urgent storm evacuation and shelter information immediately sent directly to your device. Sign up today at sacramento-alert.org. Again, that's sacramento-alert.org. It's free, quick, and easy to do, and can literally be a lifesaver.
Listen up, guys. Are you experiencing any of the following? Fatigue, less drive, poor performance? If so, you may be one of the nearly 30 million men in the U.S. today dealing with ED. But did you know you don't have to pay hundreds for a prescription anymore? And you don't have to deal with the hassle of seeing the doctor or the embarrassment of going to the pharmacy for a certain pill. Now, with one free call, you can find out how Herbal Verility Max can help you feel like a man again. For over a decade, Herbal Verility Max has helped guys just like you put a smile back on their face with improved performance and drive. Call today and ask about our buy one, get one free offer.
800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. That's 800-690-8445.
Investors, keep listening to learn how to get your free gold report. A currency crisis is upon us. The U.S. dollar has been the world's reserve currency for over 50 years, but that is changing. It's time to protect your retirement. Decades of reckless borrowing and spending have critically weakened the dollar. The U.S. has become the world's biggest debtor with over $35 trillion in debt. Plus, the dollar's become weaponized. Countries are dumping it. Investors who wait until it's too late could lose big. There is one safe haven: gold. Diversify your portfolio with a physical asset they can't take away. Call the Reagan Gold Group right now and ask for your free gold guide. Here's our number.
800-941-4184. 800-941-4184. 800-941-4184. That's 800-941-4184.
Brad Gazan on Atlanta United. We know everyone has a ritual, a habit we never skip to clear our minds and elevate our performance. But what do you do to keep your head in the game? Because being your best isn't just about taking care of your body. It's about taking care of your mind and mental health. Discover the resources you need to keep your mind focused and your mental health a priority.
Find resources at georgia.loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute, the Arthur M. Blank Family Foundation, and the Ad Council.
Olden Polynice coming up after my rant. In the next segment, I wanted to talk about Jay Glazer, Fox Sports, very well respected among NFL players, has a brutal, very difficult training regimen. He's really into physical fitness, and he works out with a lot of NFL players and has become very close with a lot of NFL players. So it's been chronicled. He's talked about it. He does a lot of things in terms of his MMA background, his workout regiment. And again, he's very well connected throughout the NFL. And one of those individuals, or at least he thought, was Aaron Rodgers. As a matter of fact, at the beginning of this season, Glazer was, talking a lot about Aaron Rodgers and in a very positive way. And it was interesting because this week, I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before, but he was on with Yahoo Sports. And it was on Radio Row, getting ready for the Super Bowl. Again, Fox NFL insider Jay Glazer. And he was asked a question about the Steelers now, due to the fact that Mike McCarthy is the head coach and his connection with Aaron Rodgers. And he was asked that question about what Aaron was thinking, and because of the relationship and the friendship that Glazer had with Rodgers, because Rodgers had trained often with Glazer. All right? And Jay Glazer said this: I thought me and Aaron were really good friends and all that stuff Then he called me back once this whole offseason. So screw him. How about that? Let me give you the whole thing. Him and Mike McCarthy have talked. I think he has more of an appreciation for Mike now than he had by a lot. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. Listen, I train with Aaron in the offseason. I still can't tell you how he'll be on a Monday or a Tuesday. Like, I never know. You never know. I thought we were real good friends and all that stuff. Then he called me back once this whole offseason. So screw him. You know, it's amazing to me how Aaron Rodgers has gone from a outgoing, one of the boys, gregarious, seen in public, to where he is now, where no one knows who his wife is. You know, at Lake Tahoe, you never see him unless he's on the golf course. He's always in seclusion. You hear stories like this. I've experienced exactly what Jay Glazer experienced, and I just don't understand it. And I think that he is such a complex individual, and I'm talking about Aaron. And I've been very open about this. I've been around a lot of famous people, and I've been around a lot of athletes who are extremely well known. And I was around them before their fame and before their fortune. And I've seen them evolve into greatness. And a lot of those individuals have never changed. Their personality is what it is. And they still have the same personality traits and the same characteristics that have made them, you know, who they are. Like, they haven't deviated from who they are as people. And Aaron is just the opposite. And I would just love to know, you know, what made Aaron Rodgers go from so accessible, so friendly, so outgoing, so like, yeah, I'm your friend and I'll get right back to you when you text them, to just blowing off people left and right. It's unbelievable. I've never seen a transformation like I've seen in Aaron. And I'm talking about all of the athletes that I've been around in my entire professional career. I've never quite seen anything like I've seen with Aaron Rodgers. And when I didn't see the show live, but when I read Jay Glazer's comments and then went back and looked at the video from Yahoo Sports, I was just like, wow, this Jay Glazer, who trained with Aaron a lot and considered him a real friend, and Aaron basically blew him off all year. It's incredible to me. I just don't get it. I don't understand. And we know about the well-chronicled, I guess, falling out with his mother and his father and his family. And I mean, I guess if you don't talk to your mom and dad, or you don't talk to them often, or you went years without talking, or whatever, and you're not at your brother's wedding, I mean, we can just go right on down the list. I guess I shouldn't be surprised. And listen, I would still to this day like to consider Aaron a friend. And I'm sure that if I ran into Aaron tomorrow out and about somewhere, we would stop and have a really good conversation. But I would just love to know, what is the deal with you, dude? Like, why is it that you feel like you can be like this? What is it that makes you feel like you don't need to talk with your friends anymore, and that you ignore messages from people that consider you to be their friends? And when you are together, you make them feel important, but then you don't ever talk to that person again until you run into them. It's very puzzling to me. And I just was very interested. When I saw that interview that Jay Glazer did with the Yahoo Sports, and he said, but screw him, I'm just like, wow.
All right, Napes.
You know what? The word I would use, Ryan, is sad.
Yeah.
It's sad to
well,
me.
you know better. I mean, you were close with him. You had him the day after he won the Super Bowl and was the MVP. Yes. You have homework. You need to go on Netflix and watch Enigma, which is it's about 90 minutes, 2 hours.
Okay.
A documentary that follows Aaron through an offseason. I think it was the offseason, I want to say, before the Jets. Or maybe it was the offseason of
Is
rehab.
it when they followed him to all of his, like, what word am I looking for here? Meditation, and it had all of that in there as well?
Yes.
Yeah, I did see that. I did see it.
All right.
Yeah. 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 What struck you about that?
Just that
in his off season.
The only thing that struck me is he has consolidated his circle. And whatever his circle is, it's all that matters to him. That's what's really kind of clear to me. Everybody else,
I always say to each their own, right, Ryan?
Yeah.
To each their own. Live your life however you want. But what's the most important thing in life? I've always thought are relationships, friendships, like communication, like the bond that you have with other human beings. Mm-hmm. He's a recluse. Like he's just now, he almost lives on an island all by himself. Right?
But he might have
I don't get it.
He might have everything he needs with that group that's around him. And he doesn't need anything else. He gets all of those things that you're talking about from those people. Now, we can judge whether that's healthy or not, but that's how it kind of comes off, especially if you watch that documentary.
I just can't, and this is me, and we're all different. I don't see how you just blow off your friends because of a certain stature that you make or you obtain, or like, I don't get that. All right. And yeah, I have friends that maybe I don't talk to as often as I would like, but I can tell you this, if they reach out to me, I don't blow them off and ignore them. And vice versa. If I send someone a text that maybe I haven't talked to in 3 months or 4 months, they always get back to me. Hey man, how are you? It's been a long time. What's going on? Like, isn't it just human nature? Aaron doesn't do that anymore.
It is, but I think it's beyond that. I think it doesn't even have anything to do with ego and money. I think it's a reason that none of us know. He had public relationships. His entire private life was public for a very long time. And he chose that with Danica making or being a part of that relationship. I guess he didn't choose the things with The Bachelor and his brother, etc., and then his family coming out. But it doesn't strike me as an ego thing. Like, I'm too big for you. Because, Grant, he was the Super Bowl MVP. He's the guy in Green Bay. He was the guy before that. And he wasn't that way. So why would that automatically change overnight?
I don't know, but it did.
Yeah.
But it did. It really did. I just thought it was very interesting to hear Jay Glazer say, but screw him. Oh, well, life goes on. And this show will go on. We're going to have Grant's rant coming up here in a couple of moments. And I already have my rant. So you can give me some ideas.
Dang
but no. I'm going to listen to your ideas.
Okay.
But I've got one. The NBA trade deadline. There's so much that went on. Olden Polynice will be joining us here in a couple of moments. And then we'll take some phone calls. We'll get you up till 6 o'clock. And remember, if you missed the first hour of the show, it will be replayed at 6. The Kings and the Clippers tomorrow. The Kings and the Cavaliers on Saturday. And then we will get you right into the All-Star break with a couple of road games next week. And then the long layoff. From the 916, I think that Rodgers wants his privacy with his new wife. Look at his previous girlfriend. Actresses, IndyCar and NASCAR driver, actress, mystery woman, only known by her name, and now what? I'm okay with someone wanting his privacy, and your privacy with your new wife is fine, but that doesn't mean you blow off your friends. That has nothing to do with that. Grant's rant coming up next, followed by Olden Polynice, then your phone calls as we get you through the third hour of the show on a busy Thursday. Grant Napier, Fox Sports Sacramento, coming back right after this. it's Grant Napier for my friends at DAS Mechanical. Did you know most homeowners are changing their heating and air systems from gas to all electric? It's about getting more energy efficiency and saving a lot more money every month on energy bills. If your current heating and air system is 15 years or older, it may be time to consider a change. Call DAS Mechanical first. Nearly all of DAS's work is gas to electric whole system changeouts. Nick and his team, they're experts. They also have 0% financing and 24/7 availability if you ever have a heating emergency. Award-winning, locally owned. It's DAS Mechanical, serving their Sacramento and Placer County neighbors for years. Save more on your energy bills. Call, text, or chat at 530-591-1055 to find out more, or go to dasmechanical.org. That's dasmechanical.org.
If you need a new set of top brand tires, Downtown Ford Sacramento has great news. For a limited time, we'll beat any competitor's price on a set of 4 tires. Then, kick you down a mail-in rebate of up to $150, and that includes major brands like Michelin, BF Goodrich, Uniroyal, Hankook, and more. Some restrictions apply. Visit downtownfordsacramento.com for details. Downtown Ford Sacramento on Howe Avenue. Online at downtownfordsacramento.com.
All right, son. Time to put out this campfire.
Dad, we learned about this in school.
Oh, did you now? Okay. What's first?
Smokey Bear said to.
First, drown it with a bucket of water, then stir it with a shovel.
Wow, you sound just like him.
Then he said.
If it's still warm, then do it again.
Where can I learn all this?
It's all on SmokeyBear.com with other wildfire prevention tips. Because only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. The Eastern Conference, wide open, contenders responding in very different ways. While Detroit is settling for players like Kevin Huerter, Cleveland went all in for James Harden. In the short term, it makes sense. Harden's still dangerous, averaging over 25 a game. Also, over 8 assists. Pairing him with Donovan Mitchell gives the Cavs a puncher's chance in a conference that lacks a true great team. For a franchise trying to capitalize on a narrow window, this is what aggression looks like. But the real question is not what this move does this season, it's what it does to Cleveland's future. Harden's 36, not on a long-term deal, and carries a resume that includes elite production and a long trail of abrupt exits. Betting on him means betting against history with a hefty price tag attached. That gamble cost the Cavs Darius Garland, a very talented young guard. Swapping him for James Harden raises the ceiling dramatically, but it also drops the floor just as fast. I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. You want the vibe of a drink, that warm, smooth little kick, but you also want to wake up tomorrow as a functioning adult. That's where Arkay comes in. ARKAY, Zero Proof. It's the world's first zero-proof spirits brand. They've created the warm molecule. So it's a patented way to give you that familiar warmth and dopamine-driven feel-good moment you expect from a drink without a single drop of alcohol. For 14 years, they perfected more than 28 alcohol-free spirits. All 0 calories, 0 sugar, and 0 regrets. No hangovers, no bad decisions. It's the perfect time to enjoy the same flavors and traditions while staying true to what matters most, feeling good and living a full life. Whether you're hosting, toasting, or cheering on your favorite team, Arkay Zero Proof lets you celebrate without compromise. Join the revolution at RKZeroProof.com. Arkay Zero Proof.
Grant's back. Join the conversation every weekday afternoon beginning at 3 p.m. KSAC 890 AM Olivehurst, K284CM 104.7 FM Sacramento.
It's time for Grant.
All right, Ryan, what do you have for me?
Grant, I am so sick of Giannis Antetokounmpo's act with this whole, do I want to stay? Do I not want to stay? Now that he's staying in Milwaukee, he posted on X, legends don't chase, they attract. That is your first option. Your second option happens to be about Tom Brady and the Super Bowl and him calling the game. So check this out. Tom Brady was on a podcast with Jim Gray, no surprise there, and was asked about who he wants to win the game. Remember, he is announcing the game and said he didn't have a dog in the fight on this one. May the best team win. His old teammates like Vince Wilfork coming out and just killing him for not supporting the Patriots. Like, can you not recognize the guy's doing a job? And last but not least, the Patrick Mahomes for our friend Jerry Reynolds. Very sad that Patrick and the Chiefs are not in the Super Bowl, but not forgotten. You, if you would like to, can go to Poly Market and make a bet on the Super Bowl that Patrick or the Chiefs will be brought up in the Super Bowl telecast. How about that?
Okay. And then I've got something that I'm going to rant on, okay?
Yes. And Chris Collinsworth is aware of it. And by the way, I misspoke. Tom's not calling the Super Bowl. It's NBC.
It's on NBC.
They have it the next year.
Right. Yes. So Roger Goodell is infatuated with taking the NFL globally, right? We've seen it in Europe. We've now had 2 years, for whatever reason, in Brazil, for crying out loud. And now the National Football League is going to play games in Melbourne, Australia. That's right. Melbourne. And the Rams were announced earlier in the year, going back to 2025, I meant earlier in the season, as the team that would be debuting football in Melbourne, but we didn't know the opponent. Well, the opponent was announced today by the National Football League, and it is the 49ers. Yeah, let's take a rivalry within the state of California, Northern California versus Southern California, the Rams and the 49ers. Yeah, let's take that rivalry. Let's get on an airplane and let's go 16 hours away to play in Melbourne. You know, the NFL doesn't make any sense to me. The stupidity, the absurd. They don't give a damn about the fans. They don't care about the rivalries. Really? You're going to have the Rams play the 49ers in Melbourne in the regular season? How freaking ridiculous is that? Seriously, it's just wrong. It's absolutely wrong. We saw in Brazil this year, the Chiefs take on the Chargers, but you're going to have the Rams and the 49ers get on a plane, and you're going to go 15 or 16 hours to Melbourne, a divisional game of that magnitude within the same state. It's just wrong. It's flat out wrong. And I just hate it. And if I were a fan of the Rams or the 49ers, I would really, really hate it. It's absurd. It is just flat out absurd. A regular season game in Melbourne, Australia with the Rams and the 49ers. Give me a freaking break. And that's my rant for today. I wonder how Olden Polynice feels about that, because he's a huge NFL fan. What's up, Mr. Polynice? How are you today?
I'm good, Grant. And yourself?
I'm good. Yeah, let's get on a plane. Let's go 16 hours and play a regular season NFL game in Melbourne. Unbelievable.
Let's reverse our sleep cycle.
Oh my gosh, that's ridiculous. Hey, by the way, you know what? I love what you put out on social media as it pertains to the challenges in the NBA. Why should a team be penalized if they challenge and they get it right and even get it right again, and then they're out of challenges? They can't use them anymore. Why should a team be penalized because the officials made the wrong call? You challenged them, you showed that they made the wrong call. Why should that prevent you from doing it again?
Exactly, and that's my thing. In the NBA, they still haven't gotten it right with this challenge stuff because, at first it was just one, now it's two. But again, I'm saying, hey, tie the challenges to timeouts. But at the end of the day, if you see blatantly that the referee made a mistake, it should not affect a team's challenge. That's a mistake that we cleared up. Or go back to the way we used to have it. Mistakes are going to be made. We're just going to have to live with it.
I want to talk to you about the Clippers. They had been on an unbelievable run. They had won 17 of 21, and now it's like, boom, wow. Were you surprised when you heard earlier this week that they were working a deal to move James Harden, and then they did to Cleveland? What was your reaction to that?
I wasn't so much surprised about it because it was around the time where James Harden usually requests a trade. So,
right.
You know, it is what it is. That's his MO. Just like with everything with the playoffs, that's his MO. He has a routine. So I get it. But again, he's still a nice guy, you know, and he plays every night. So I'm not going to knock him for any of that stuff. But he's really created an MO for himself of, you know, getting out. But I think he's sort of writing on the wall that was to come. And which is like, you know, you see Zubats. I'm more surprised by Zubats being traded to the Pacers than anything else. That's insane to me. That's like one of your steadiest dudes, and all of a sudden he's gone. So that's telling me there's something else going on behind closed doors that we don't, you know, we're not privy to. But
you think it has to do with the ongoing
really
investigation that might be coming out that is going to really make life difficult? Yeah.
Hey, Grant, let me tell you something. Something happened. We know that for certain because it would not be out there unless something happened. And this will not be the first time that a team and a player had some kind of a under-the-table deal. We've seen it throughout the years in the history of the NBA. So it's the magnitude of it, and the amount of money per se. Because perfect example, Dallas Mavericks, when they signed Dennis Rodman, you know, Mark Cuban had him living in his house, you know, as a way of circumventing. And so, you know, stuff like that has always happened. But, again, not to this magnitude. So I do think, you know, where there is smoke, there's fire. So we'll see what happens.
Olden Polynice, who's going to be on with us each and every week for the remainder of the basketball season, joining us here on Fox Sports Sacramento. It was a very, very busy week, but Giannis Antetokounmpo stays in Milwaukee. Were you surprised by that?
I was surprised because, you know, but then again, I wasn't, only because for two reasons. One, Milwaukee was not going to make a trade just to make a trade. And we kind of knew that, so it had to be the right situation with everything that they wanted, you know, and what they wanted from Golden State wasn't ready to do. All the other teams also, they were like, you know, they were haggling a little bit, so we get that. But at the same time, Milwaukee still has control. But the further we get down there, end of the season, off season, power goes back to Giannis, and he's going to gain control. And so they're going to they put it this way: Giannis Antetokounmpo will not finish his career with the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah. I think you're spot on. Olden Polynice joining us here on Fox Sports Sacramento. I've been very open about this. I would not want John Morant. Too many red flags. Plus, I think his numbers, I think whatever, I don't know if he's not the same player after his injuries, but it's just not a good three-point shooter. But, you know, that's my opinion. I wouldn't want him on my team. Would you take a chance on Morant if you were a general manager and needed a point guard?
I'm not taking a chance, and it's not even basketball related. It's everything else that happened, because at some point in time, you cannot be that obtuse, you know, and I just don't like it, because here's a talented young man who had the world in the palms of his hands, who has a father in his life, and yet you still make some of the dumbest decisions I've ever seen. To me, that's a major red flag. Forget the talent. It's just a major red flag, and I don't think that will ever be different with him. And so that's the reason Olden Polynice wouldn't make a move to get him.
Are you saying that because you've been in a lot of different locker rooms, a lot of different environments, and a basketball team's not a football team, there's only so many players, that you don't want that type of an individual in your locker room? Is that part of what you're saying?
That's definitely what I'm saying. I just don't want anybody that could be like that, because at some point in time, and you know, we can go back to the couple of situations that he had, you know, and whether they were like laws broken or not has nothing to do with me. It's the decision-making factor. And so to me, as a point guard, as a leader of a team, and you keep making these weird decisions, and, you know, it just doesn't make sense to me. So I don't want that. But again, if I'm going to have a team, I'm going to make sure I have guys that are, you know, that will hold other players accountable. And I don't think they've had that in Memphis. And so I think they brought in Derrick Rose for a year to try and mentor and everything else. But Derrick Rose is at the end of his career anyway, so John Morant's not really going to be listening to him. You need somebody that's on par with him, you know, or even a higher level than him, you know, to mentor him and not, for lack of a better word, have a little bit more control in how Ja maneuvers. But again, that comes down to his father. He's got to step up and be a dad. And so to me, those are my reasons. But again, the talent is there. We've seen it. You know, maybe there's a little bit of drop off because of the injuries. But Grant, let me tell you this. I don't understand how young people today with less work are getting hurt more.
I'm with you. I'm so glad you said that.
I don't get that.
I know. I don't either. Hey, do you think the San Antonio Spurs, we talk about matchups a lot, right? They have won 4 games in the 5 games played this season against Oklahoma City. Could the Spurs, are they good enough? Are they ready to win a championship? Could you see that happening?
The way they've beaten on Oklahoma City this year tells me that they can, because everything's going to go through OKC and maybe the Denver Nuggets. I just don't think they're ready yet mentally. You know, now if a De'Aaron Fox, but again, De'Aaron Fox hasn't been there. He hasn't been in a deep playoff run. So he's not even going to know how to, you know, even give these guys information. Harrison Barnes, yes. But still, Harrison Barnes is a middle type player now in his career. You know, he's still serviceable, but he doesn't have the cachet per se. So I think they're about 2 years away, honestly. You know, and I've said this before, Oklahoma City is a young team chronologically, but they're very mature for their young age. And I think that's what San Antonio has to get to, that maturity of knowing how to play the game.
Couldn't we say the same thing about the Pistons, who were dominating the East 37-12, but we would say the same thing about them? Because the East OP seems to be just wide open.
The East is wide open, but the difference is the Pistons are playing with a toughness. See, they got guys that are, again, the maturity. Kay Cunningham, I mean, he's not a young guy per se. You know, he spent a couple years in college. He's done that. Jalen Duran is a mature guy for a young person. And so that's what I'm saying. They are along the lines of OKC, having younger guys, but they have a maturity about them. And their style also is you know, similar to what OKC did in the past. So I give them a heads up over San Antonio and the rest of the Eastern Conference, you know, and they're moving very professionally. And I like that about them.
Are you surprised at how well Boston has played this year with no Tatum and all the moves they made? And now they get Vucevic. I really like that move for them. Could you see Boston coming out of the East this year? I mean, if you look at Detroit, New York, Boston, and who knows what's going to happen with Cleveland now. And I don't know if you would have any other team in there that you would consider a dark horse in the East, but could the Celtics be that team?
I'm not shocked by the Celtics, only because Tatum was extra. You know, it's kind of like when Durant went to the Warriors. That was overkill. You know, you were already good. That's overkill. Like a guy. So if Jaylen Brown gets hurt and Tatum's in, they still pretty much do the same thing that they're doing now. And so to me, those two guys are so good. It's almost like overkill. But again, the problem that I have with the Boston Celtics is this: the 3-point shooting. Oh my Lord, you're gonna you live by the 3, you die by the 3. You know, it's that one time that the 3s don't fall. That's going to be the problem for Boston, because these guys, they shoot at such a clip. It's insane. It's 17.4. I'm like, come on, man. That they are like it's all 3s for them. You know, so I can see them, you know, if they get hot, Peyton Pritchard, how's all them dudes start getting hot. You know, Jaylen Brown's really worked on his ball handling, you know, over the last year. It looks a lot better. He's not turning the ball over as much. the Vujacic trade is massive. You know, now you got a guy that, I mean, what is it, 19 points, 10 rebounds, so that's solid. So I like the moves that they made, you know, and they didn't lose much. You know, Anthony Simons, I kind of knew he was getting traded.
Sure. Yeah.
It's like that last game he played, he was on a heater. I was like, yeah, he's about to be traded. They just let him out there.
Yeah. You know, I'm wondering, the game is so different than when you even came out from Virginia into the NBA. I'm not a fan of the way the game is played now. I just am not. I'm not a fan of the game has just become a 3-point shooting contest for all intents and purposes. What about you, for someone that played the game for so long? What do you think of the way the game is played now in 2026?
I mean, I enjoy it, but at the same time, I do have some trepidation because I don't mind 3-point shots, but let the 3-point shooters shoot them. See, we used to have specialists, you know, guys that actually could shoot three. Steve Kerrs of the world, you know, Tim Leglers, they were specialists. Ray Allen, Reggie Miller, Dale Ellis, those guys could shoot three. Today, everybody shoots threes. That's the problem that I have with it, because I always say, if you're not in the gym like a Steph Curry or Reggie Miller, Ray Allen, shooting threes, getting up 1,000 threes a day, stop shooting threes. You're not a 3-point shooter. You're a guy that can make a three. Two different things. That's why I have my problem, because I don't need to see a 7-foot guy who can't even make a free throw shoots a three.
I don't disagree with you. Olden Polynice, each and every week right here on the Grant Napier Show. Dude, I can't believe you're in your 60s, man. We're getting old. You know that? Time's going way too fast.
Man, trust me, I'm feeling it. It's all good, though. I didn't think I'd get to 62.
Hey, seriously, you said you're feeling good. You played a long time in the NBA, and you played in a very physical era of the NBA. I mean, how is your body these days? Seriously.
My body's great. I mean, Grant, you got to remember, I was the guy causing the pain. So I learned that a long time ago. Hurt them before they hurt
Come on. Oh. So who is the most physical player you would go up against annually? The one guy that you were like, man, oh man, I wish I wasn't doing this.
It wasn't just one guy. All them dudes, Charles Oakley, I mean, Buck Williams. Buck Williams was a grown man. He was a grown man.
Yes,
I
he
played
was.
against Maurice Lucas. I played against Kevin Duckworth, Sabonis. It's like so many big guys. Alonzo Mourning, I hated guarding him because he played hard like I did. So I hated playing those guys. Give me the superstars that play, give me 60% when they play somebody like me, and then they realize, snap, I messed up.
You know, it's interesting you say.
I never liked guarding guys that played like me.
You know, it's interesting you said Buck Williams, because my first ever telecast in the NBA was up at Portland when they had Terry Porter, Clyde Drexler, Jerome Kersey, Buck Williams, Kevin Duckworth. Mike Schuler was the coach, and of course you were with Seattle for the years, and going into that small gym up there in Portland, man, that was I'll never forget that. And what a team that was. They didn't win a championship, but boy, that front line, wow, that was good. That was Kersey, Williams,
and all
Duckworth.
Those guys were physical. They were all physical, Grant.
Yeah.
They were coming at you.
Yeah, the game was so different than OP, man. So different. So different. So how about the bad boys, the way they played?
It's supposed to evolve, though.
What's that?
The evolution has to, because I say it's supposed to evolve. The evolution has to happen. We can say the same thing about the 50s and 60s. Everybody, dribble one-handed. Even when they're going left, they dribble with the right hand. And then we learn. But I think all of these guys, the one thing I don't like, and I've said it countless times, I don't like the whole if, like Paolo Banchero. If I played in the 80s and 90s, I would average 50. And I'm like, boy, shut up. No, you would not. Because first of all, there's no such thing, okay? If you were in the 80s and 90s, you would conform to the 80s and 90s.
Of course.
Because you're looking at it from 2026 eyes. And that's why I get mad with these people. I'm like, stop being so stupid with all these dumb comments.
I'm very happy you said that.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
No, you know why I'm happy you said that? I want to ask the question to you because you played that position. I ask myself, what would happen right now today if Shaquille O'Neal were coming out of LSU and was the number one player taken in the draft? We're talking about, one of the most powerful, dominant big men in the history of the NBA. Would have he grown up playing the game differently, OP? Would have he been used differently in AAU and college? Why would you take a player that could be that dominant and a low post near the basket and put them on the perimeter? What do you think it would be like, seriously, if Shaq were coming out of college today?
He'd be Giannis.
Really?
He'd
Wow.
be Giannis, trying to shoot threes. The thing
Crazy.
about Shaquille is the fact that when he came out, he caught the end of the 90s and all of the, and then the end of the 90s and the 2000s. So he caught the league, at the right time where he had the old school dudes still playing and the new guys coming in, and he still dominated. He was the most physical specimen. I mean, and I've stood next to Wilt Chamberlain. I didn't have the opportunity to play against him, and I heard the stories about how physical and strong he is. But Shaquille O'Neal was a massive individual to defend. And so again, but Shaquille O'Neal coming out in 2025, 2026, he'd be a three-point shooting big guy because that's where we are right now. Paolo Banchero in the 80s would be Antoine Carr, Cliff Levingston.
Antoine Carr, big dog. Man, I loved him.
Yeah, that's the style he'd be playing right now because he wouldn't have had the luxury of having information on how to play basketball in the 2000s. That's what they don't understand. You're playing the style because you don't have the information. That's why I say these guys are lucky because they have access to YouTube to go look at every single player that's ever played basketball and pick something. You think Kyrie Irving just learned that on his own? No. He saw Isaiah Thomas. He saw Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf. He saw all these guys dribble and handle the ball.
Yeah.
Jason Williamses. And so you learn from these people, whether it was his father trading because his father played. So he's like, I'm going to teach my son how everything that Isaiah did and all these other guys did and put it in his repertoire.
I love that you said Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf. It always reminds me of one of the funniest things I've ever heard a coach say. I don't know if you were on the Kings yet, but they had Mahmoud and Billy Owens, and Gary St. Jean was the coach. And we're at shoot around at Arkay one day, and it was me.
I was there because Mahmoud came after I was with the Kings.
Oh, that's right. Okay. So it's me, Marty McNeil of the B, and one other guy, and we're talking to Saint. And at shoot around, they didn't have Billy Owens and Mahmoud at shoot around one day. And Marty goes, Saint, where's Billy and Mahmoud today? And Saint goes, Mahmoud is at the gynecologist and Billy's got bruised ovaries. Okay. Hey, can you? No, really. And Saint, and you can hear Saint saying that.
Stole my line.
Hey, OP. Could you imagine if a coach said that today? He would be fired in 2 minutes.
Today? Oh, they canceled. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. But that's what I'm saying. Not one of these guys could play for a man like Jerry Sloan. And Jerry was probably the fairest coach you ever seen. But he held you accountable. You know? And Jerry could cuss you out in the locker room after the game. He puts his hand out and shake your hand.
Yep.
These guys are too sensitive for all of that. Oh, trust me, I've used the bruised ovaries one a lot. That's one of my favorite lines. Bruised ovaries. Come on, man. That's where we are right now. It's unfortunate. That's why I try not to say, they like WNBA because I don't want to be disrespectful to WNBA players.
Oh my gosh. You're killing me. Hey, I appreciate you. I look forward to I'll reach out to you tomorrow. We'll pick out a day to do it. I'd like to have a little bit of consistency. We'll pick out a day that is the best for you. We'll do it each and every week for the rest of the season, and I can't wait. Thank you.
Yes,
appreciate you.
I know. Thank you, Grant.
Take care. Have a good one. That's Olden Polynice. Good stuff right there. Very good stuff. But he's going to be joining us every week right here on this radio show, and I cannot wait for that. Hey, you've heard me talk a lot about Village Financial Group, right? And with 2026 maybe being a year that you make a big move when it comes to real estate, Maybe you're going to sell your home, buy a home. You need some money with a home equity line of credit. Well, whatever the case may be, you want someone that you can trust, that is experienced. And what I love about Village Financial Group, and I've known Spence since 2000 when he became the owner of Village Financial Group and broker, experienced 30 years in the mortgage business, someone you can trust, kind of a boutique one-shop experience. That's right, where he's going to take you from the start to the finish with everything that he does. Spence has access to private money, which will expedite your loan closing. It's awesome. And all you need to do is call or text Spence at 916-805-4868. That's 916-805-4868. And if you want to look at thousands of available properties, just go to their website, vfgloans.com. It makes sense to call Spence at 916-805-4868. Village Financial Group, looking out for your best interest. We'll come back, phone calls, text messages, right here on Fox Sports Sacramento.
Are you SAC Alert? Have you signed up to receive emergency alerts via phone, text, email, or app? Well, what are you waiting for? Winter is coming, and that means there is potential for storms and flooding in our county. Don't get caught off guard or left in the cold. Get urgent storm evacuation and shelter information immediately sent directly to your device. Sign up today at sacramento-alert.org. Again, that's sacramento-alert.org. It's free, quick, and easy to do, and can literally be a lifesaver.
You've been saying you're going to pay better attention to your home's honeydews. Check one off your list right now by calling Gabruds Services to schedule a 12-point inspection of your home's electrical system. The safe rule of thumb is every 5 years for an inspection. If it's been 5 years or more, call Gabruds now. A qualified technician will provide a thorough inspection of the electrical system to ensure it's safe or alert you to potential problems. At Gabruds, electrical work is all we do. We are the area's recognized experts for anything electrical, and our number one priority is ensuring your home and family are safe. You've been saying you'll pay better attention to your home. Stop saying it. Make the call to Gabruds. Talk with a real person and schedule your 12-point inspection today. Gabruds, locally owned for more than 30 years. Gubruds.
Call the good dudes at Gabruds, Gubruds, Gabruds.com.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
From the 916, Grant, do I think the NFL will have the Super Bowl outside of the U.S. in 29 or 30? There is no way in the world they can take the biggest game annually in the United States and move it out of the country. You just can't do that. I would, with Roger Goodell, I would not say never, but that would shock me. That would shock me. I don't see how you could take the biggest game in the country annually by far and move it out of the country. I don't see that ever happening. I just don't. Wouldn't that shock you, Ryan?
Not necessarily.
Where are you going to play the game if it's not in America?
Yeah, at Wembley Stadium, probably.
Boy, there's no way you can take the National Football League and have the biggest game of the year in London. No way. No freaking way.
Why couldn't
that'd
you?
Be like,
Great.
that would be like taking the biggest game every year in the Premier League and having it played over in New York.
Yeah,
I mean, come on.
But Grant, if there's really solid success with what they're doing overseas, and because it's a 2-week event, maybe it becomes a full 2-week event if you do it over. I don't think it happens on that timeline, but I certainly would not rule that out over the next 20 years. Adam Silver's trying to make NBA Europe right now.
Yeah, but NBA Europe is different than having the big. You wouldn't take the NBA Finals and move it overseas. I mean, it's just, I don't see that ever happening. I just don't.
I don't know, Grant. So it's only a 3-hour time difference from New York to London, right?
No, it's 5 hours.
Oh, it's 5 hours.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, you had the Pro Bowl in Hawaii.
From the 601, well, the Hawaii's in the United States. From the 601, Grant, over the years, you were hard on OP by doing your job, but it's so cool that he didn't take it personally and has been amazing on the show. That's what I call two professionals. Well, I got to give OP all the credit on that. I've been very open about this. So when we were having I'm opinionated. You know, that's why you listen to my show. I tell you what I have to say on my radio show, and that ruffles some people's feathers sometimes, and they don't like me, and I get it. All right. You can't do this show properly without hurting someone's feelings. That's just part of the deal. Do I enjoy hurting people's feelings? No, but it is what it is. In order for me to do my job, there are going to be people that don't like what I have to say. I get that. I accept that. And OP was one of those. And I was extremely hard on him after he punched out a reporter in the locker room the day after we had been at a middle school for the NBA's Read to Achieve. And I was very open about that. And I was very hard on him. And it got very difficult for a while. And then one day out of the blue, he called my radio show. I didn't know he was going to call the show. I wasn't expecting it. And I took a call, and it was OP. And he comes on the show, and he said, hey, man, I just wanted to reach out to you, but I wanted to do it publicly. And I want to apologize. And I understand you're just doing your job. And we had an amazing 15-minute chat on the radio. And I said to him, I go, you know, OP, I said, I really have a ton of respect for you, what you just did. And I said, that's never happened before. I've never had an athlete just call up out of the blue and do what you did. And I said, I have immense respect for that. And I said, it really means a lot to me. And from that point forward, we were great. Whenever I would see him out and about, we would have a great time. There was no animosity. There were no hard feelings. And I always go back to this. It's called communication. I mean, I'm not perfect. Are you perfect? There are perfect people on social media because I see them all the time. I'm not one. I've never been perfect. And if I'm wrong, I apologize. And if I do something that I know is wrong, then I go out and I apologize, both privately and publicly. I don't have a problem with that. And I just thought it was great. So I appreciate that text. I really do. And I would agree, you know, you say call it two professionals. I would say that it is, I would agree with you, but it's also two people that understand each other's feelings, their reasons for being upset, and the job that they have to do. So I do understand that, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate the text, and I appreciate communication. And if you have a difference or differences with someone, you can always talk to them. You know, even when I was having my differences with OP, it's not like I hated him. I was just doing my job. I thought it was really unfortunate what had happened, and I called him out on it. So, you know, some players think that I shouldn't do that because I'm the announcer for the team, but I've never been like that. Never been like that. You know, if you do something stupid, then I'm going to call you out on it, right? If you're getting in a fight at a nightclub in New York and allegedly sucker punched a girl in the face, well, I'm going to be hard on you on the radio show. If you curse at men, women, and children with vile, vulgar, horrible words, I'm going to call you out on that. If you get suspended repeatedly, I'm going to call you out on that. If you embarrass the franchise, I'm going to call you out on it. I'm not going to cover for you because I'm the TV announcer for the team. No. Because I have credibility too, and I owe it to my audience, and that's my job. As hard as it may be, and as hard as it may be for some people to understand that, that's my job. I'm not a vanilla guy. I'm not. I'm just not. Said Grant, Rams and 49ers Got presents from the NFL to go to Melbourne next year because the 49ers host the Super Bowl this year and the Rams are hosting in 2027. Yeah, I just did a rant on it, Lynn. I don't understand. I don't like it. I don't like the fact that the 49ers and the Rams are playing over in Melbourne. I don't like that a divisional game within the state is being played 16 hours away by airplane. I don't like that. All right, I'll tell you what I do like. We will wrap up the show when we come back. We have the final segment. Kings and Clippers tomorrow. And I still want to hear from you, whether it's text or on the phone calls. What's your mindset now that the trade deadline is behind us? What do you feel? Is it doom and gloom? Do you have any hope? Do you not have hope? Do you not care? I think a lot of fans are just like, man, leave me alone. Wake me up next year. Enough's enough as it pertains to this team. A lot of empties last night. A lot of empty seats at the arena.
I know the attendance was not 15,000.
No way. No way in the world.
Yes.
I'm going to send you some pictures of the attendance last night, and then you can look at it during the break and tell me if you think there was 15,000.
I talked to somebody that tracks it. So, yes, it was not 15.
No. We'll be right back to wrap up the show on Fox Sports Sacramento.
If you need a new set of top brand tires, Downtown Ford Sacramento has great news for you. For a limited time, we'll beat any competitor's price on a new set of 4 tires. Then kick you down a mail-in rebate of up to $150. And that includes major brands like Pirelli, Bridgestone, Yokohama, and Goodyear. Some restrictions apply. Visit downtownfordsacramento.com for details. Downtown Ford Sacramento on Howe Avenue. Online at downtownfordsacramento.com.
Hey, it's Grant Napier for my friends at DAS Mechanical. Did you know most homeowners are changing their heating and air systems from gas to all electric? It's about getting more energy efficiency and saving a lot more money every month on energy bills. If your current heating and air system is 15 years or older, it may be time to consider a change. Call DAS Mechanical first. Nearly all of DAS's work is gas to electric whole system changeouts. Nick and his team, they're experts. They also have 0% financing and 24/7 availability if you ever have a heating emergency. Award-winning, locally owned. It's DAS Mechanical, serving their Sacramento and Placer County neighbors for years. Save more on your energy bills. Call, text, or chat at 530-591-1055 to find out more, or go to dasmechanical.org. That's dasmechanical.org.
There's a great American pastime that the entire family can enjoy together, located right outside of Sacramento. The Golden State Shooting Center welcomes you. The Golden State Shooting Center is an 80-acre clay target shooting facility. It's the home of numerous youth sport shooting teams from the region. Over 1,000 high school students from Northern California are on sports shooting teams, and 10 of the Western United States' top shooting teams train at Golden State Shooting Center. New members are being accepted now. For details, visit goldenstateshootingcenter.com. Maybe it could be said that New Year's resolutions are simply meant to be broken. If, like most people, you've already abandoned your promise to live healthier in 2026, you're not alone. But when it comes to being healthy and happy, it's never too late to hit that reset button and start living your best life. Sacramento Naturopathic Medical Center invites you to schedule a free healthy aging consultation with Dr. Dennis Godby, an accomplished author and expert in the art of aging gracefully. As we get older, things change. A lot of us will experience lower energy levels. Some of us may experience a lack of motivation. And for guys, the onset of middle age can mean a lower libido and oftentimes ED. These things can be caused by low testosterone levels, which can usually be safely and easily treated. Visit gettingbetternow.com today and schedule your free healthy aging consultation with Sacramento Naturopathic Medical Center located in Midtown. Living your best life is something you can get started on today. Visit gettingbetternow.com.
Wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind. Like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest. Uh-oh. Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash.
Man, fantastic.
Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control. So you're on your own with the wasps. You have the power to take control of prediabetes. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
Final segment on a very busy Thursday. The trade deadline has passed. So, Ryan, I just sent you a bunch of pictures from the game last night, and there was not anything close to 15,000 at the game. And not only that, I've got messages from season ticket holders and friends of season ticket holders that said that they can't even get employees to take their tickets right now to go to games. And that, lower level tickets, they can get $10 for them. And that's about it. Seriously, that's how bad things are right now.
Yeah, it's not untrue. I've talked to a season ticket holder that I know as well. They're only keeping their tickets for next year because their son is a senior in high school. And after that, that's it, because they've always had their tickets. Athena asks or says, it's fascinating that they fudge the numbers on purpose. Any insight to that, Napes?
They fudge the numbers on purpose?
The attendance numbers.
Well, I don't know if the attendance is tickets sold or from the actual attendance in the arena, because there are a lot of no-shows. There are a lot of people that just eat their tickets and don't go to the games, but yet they're paid for. So I'm not really sure.
Yeah, it's a good question. And it does, correct me if I'm wrong, my understanding includes the employees and people in the building that may be working. So,
all right, from the 209 Travel Hour, what's my favorite tropical destination? And separately, what's the best bang for the buck destination? Well, favorite tropical destination, I love the Caribbean. All right, I really do. And the Maldives would be really hard to beat, but that is very expensive. So for the best bang for the buck destination, without a doubt, no question, Southeast Asia. No doubt. Whether it's Vietnam, whether it's Thailand, whether it's the Philippines. Like, if you want a bang for the buck tropical destination with spectacularly beautiful beaches on the cheap. I mean, you can go to Vietnam and you can get a 5-star hotel for under $100. You can get a 4-star beautiful hotel on the beach, beautiful, for $50. You can eat dinner like a king for under $10. You can eat lunch for like $2. All right. In Thailand, there are hundreds of islands that you can go to, and you can literally go to an island and you're like, wow, is anybody even living here? Is there anybody here? And you can go to one of the most beautiful beaches you would ever see in your life, and you're looking around and you're like, there's nobody here. And then you can go and you can sit on the beach and you can eat some great Thai food for like $2. And then you can go and get some fresh fruit cut up right in front of you, watermelon, mango, right? You can get coconut water where they just open up the coconut for you. And literally you can get a whole thing of watermelon for like 75 cents, mango for 50 cents. You want coconut water up, no problem. Cut the coconut up, give you a straw, like less than $1. I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, it's truly, truly unbelievable. So my travel segment for the hour would be, if you want the best bang for the buck destination, I can't imagine going anywhere nicer and cheaper than Southeast Asia if you're looking for beautiful beaches, tropical destination. It's awesome.
Let's go the other way. Most overrated and expensive destination that you don't want to go.
Most overrated. Well, there are, I mean,
I know that's kind of subjective.
It is, because there are many, many places that you can say are just way too expensive, where you can spend thousands of dollars a night, which I would never do. I mean, even in Thailand, you can go to the Four Seasons in Koh Samui, and you can spend thousands of dollars a night, which I would never do and never have done, even though Thailand is very inexpensive. I mean, so that's really hard to say. I've never been to a tropical. Well, I mean, Hawaii is very expensive. You go stay in the Wailea area, right? If you go to Maui, I mean, Hawaii's not cheap, and Hawaii is a spectacularly beautiful tropical destination, but you better bring some money with you.
Yeah, no doubt.
Just to
Kaanapali
eat.
Beach.
See, that's the nice thing. So when I think of like tropical destinations and travel segments, I'm not just thinking about the cost of getting there and just the cost of housing. I'm thinking about what's it cost to eat? What are beverages, right? And so when you talk about like beautiful countries like Vietnam and Thailand and Cambodia, and you talk about the Philippines, or you talk about Bali in Indonesia, right? If you want to talk about like beautiful, like really cheap Bali, you can get the most unbelievable like Airbnb with your own private pool villa. You can rent a high-end motorbike for the entire week for less than $50, and you can go cruising, and the food is a couple of bucks a pop, and it's cheaper. I mean, it's really hard to find a cheaper place than Bali. So I would add Bali onto that list as well in terms of like best bang for the buck tropical destination. That's right there at the top of the list as well. Someone said Puerto Vallarta, most overrated. I can't really comment on that, but I'll take your word for it. But even like going to Cabo now is very expensive, right? Do you ever go to Mexico? Well, you don't have a passport. You can't go anywhere. Ryan, would you please go get a passport? I mean, you're the only one I know in their 40s that doesn't have a passport. What's wrong with you? Your father's a pilot, for crying out loud, and his son doesn't have a passport. You know, I need to talk to your father about that. I'm going to go, how is it that your son does not have a passport? What is that all about?
I got a text message during the London segment. Give it up. You don't even have a passport.
Thank you. It's embarrassing. Get a passport. Would you please?
I'm
What are you waiting
working
for?
on it.
So if I call you up once and go, Rhino, let's go, man. We got a week off in a couple of weeks. Let's go. We're gonna go. We're gonna do an adventurous trip. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, I can't. I don't have my passport.
Yeah, I know. Well, see, back when I was in Southern California, you didn't need a passport to go to Mexico. So.
All right, Lynn chimed in. Grant, my new travel story. I made a bet with my wife. Whoever wins gets to pick the next big vacation. Already seen brochures for future travel. See, that's the one thing in my house. I've always planned the vacations and everything. I do everything from start to finish.
No.
Oh.
I'm shocked.
All I do is go, hey, you need to be ready to go at this time of the day on this day, and you need to have this type of clothes because of the climate that we're going to. Okay. Yeah. No, I plan it all. I'm like, okay. Yeah. Absolutely.
I love it.
Yeah.
Do you ever get questioned?
Nope.
Nope.
Do a 49ers remote from Melbourne. Well, if you pay for me to make the 16-hour flight from San Francisco to Melbourne and pick up our housing costs and everything, I'd be more than happy to do a remote from Melbourne.
You know, Christian McCaffrey was making his way around the road today, and I listened to him with Pat McAfee. He's got some really good chops. When this football thing's done, he's going to end up in a booth somewhere.
No question. There's no doubt about that. So anyway, that is my travel segment for the day. And it's the only time I've talked about, well, no, I did talk about travel with my buddy coming back from Singapore. By the way, I did ask him, and I think I may have talked to you about this on the air yesterday, but when he was basically pulled aside for additional screening, which was not just like, hey, let's wand you and let's quickly take a look in your bag. He had to give his password for his phone and his laptop. After waiting a period of 2 hours, then the actual process took 1 hour. He was given a piece of paper on it stipulating why it was legal for them to ask for your phone password and laptop password. And on the handout they gave you was a phone number that you would call if you didn't agree to it or had questions, but that everything that they were doing was legal, and they put it down why it was legal based on the laws and everything else. So he was on, as I said, after a 4-hour delay out of Singapore, a 22-hour trip, lands in Newark, gets pulled aside for additional screening, had to wait 2 hours before. See, that's the problem. That's the part that I don't like. If you're going to be inconvenienced by doing additional screening, okay, that's part of the deal. That's part of traveling. It's part of the world we live in. We live in a very dangerous world. I'm okay with that, but don't make me wait 2 hours to start the process. That's not right. That's not right. But then he had to give his password up for his laptop and phone. It took 30 minutes to have all of that scanned. They literally took apart his luggage, like took it apart. And he then missed his connecting flight to Florida. Me going, that can't be. I'm like, yeah, well, it's true. It happened.
Yeah.
And it could happen to you. It can't happen to you, Ryan, because you'll never be able to leave the country because you don't have a passport.
Yeah, that's why.
So that will never happen. That will not happen to you. It could happen to me, but it won't happen to you.
Yeah, 100%. That's why I don't want a passport. I don't ever. Grant, it's already uncomfortable enough going through regular domestic airports with metal hips. I don't need the other. So
yeah. Say, Grant, if I had to pick one Kings game to watch based on the city, would it be Denver, Toronto, Chicago, or Salt Lake? That's a fabulous question. Going to Chicago is pretty amazing, and the United Center is one of my very favorite buildings. But I would probably go Toronto 1, Chicago 2, Salt Lake 3, Denver 4. The arena at Denver is very blasé. It's a cookie-cutter building.
Yes, it is.
The arena in Salt Lake's beautiful. I love the United Center, and I think the arena in Toronto is one of the most unique buildings in the league. I love it. It's great. I love Toronto. So if it were me, it's hard to not go Chicago, but I'd probably go Toronto, Chicago, Salt Lake, Denver.
It's called the Ball Arena now, but it used to be the Pepsi Center.
Yes.
And it's where the Mountain West tournament was held for us, and they had a crooked rim during the tournament at that arena.
Is that right?
Yeah. During one of the games, we realized it was crooked.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Said probably something in Rhino's past where he can't get a passport. Somebody's just chimed in about the food would factor into whether it's Chicago or Toronto. I would agree with you. I mean, if it were just for restaurants and steakhouses, I would definitely take Chicago because it's very difficult to beat the restaurants in Chicago. But from the environment of going to a game and enjoying the atmosphere at a game, Toronto and Chicago would be very difficult to pick. But if it came to food, and I know Toronto's got some great restaurants, but it's really difficult to pick. Going to a vintage Chicago steakhouse is pretty darn good.
Come on, Grant. Cleveland didn't come to mind? Cleveland?
No, it did not come to mind. No.
Room service?
No.
Don't open the windows. The drapes, keep them closed.
Remember the story about Charles Davis, the great football commentator. He and I used to have a weekly show, and there was this famous sports bar restaurant right outside Madison Square Garden called Toot Shores. And real quickly, the guy's ordering a steak at the bar, and he calls the manager over and goes, this steak's really good, but it's $15 more than it is where I live in Cleveland. I said, yes, sir, that's true, but here's the difference. Okay, when you go to sleep and you wake up in the morning, you're still in Cleveland. You're in New York right now. Enjoy it. Okay. Anyway, on that note, we will say thank you very much to everyone for listening. My thanks to Chris Landry, LandryFootball.com, to Olden Polynice for talking NBA and having some laughs along the way. For Rhino in Sacktown, I'm Grant Napier. Appreciate your support. Thank you so much. We'll do it again tomorrow at 3 o'clock right here on Fox Sports Sacramento. Bye-bye now. Hey, it's Grant Napier for Village Financial Group. I have known broker-owner Spencer Grimmenstein for 25 years, ever since he began his family-owned business. Whether it's a home equity line of credit or buying or selling a home, Spencer is a very creative financing specialist with access to private money. Check out Village Financial Group at vfgloans.com or call Spencer at 916-805-4868. Be sure and call for the investor special. And if you go to their website, vfgloans.com, you can find over 9,000 properties available for purchase. Folks, Spencer is awesome. Trust me. Again, I've known the guy since 2000. It makes sense to call Spence at 916-805-4868.